Thought I heard you.
Oh, beastly far. Yeah, nearly lost my way coming out of Albury. What's that you got there?
And jodhpurs for the cleaners. She'll need them when she gets back from London.
Oh, which is when?
The week after next. How was your day?
Oh, motoring offences mostly, you know. The chairman of the bench said at lunch today, you know, if there were no motor cars, we, JP's be out of a job.
Did you send anyone to prison?
Nope, not today. Now, there was one young chap there. Pinched a bicycle from outside the cinema in Hornbury. Can't think why he did it. Well, he's a decent sort of lad from Layford. Honest folk.
Doesn't sound very decent to me. What did he have to say for himself?
Oh, he said someone had pinched his bike, you know. He wanted to get home before his mother started worrying. So we took the first unattended bike he could see. Borrowed it, sir, he said.
Oh, a little liar.
Oh. You know, all the same, there was something likeable about it. Sort of simple directness. All right, we bound him over for 6 months.
Talking of Layford, I went over to see the new people.
Oh, what new people?
Well, the couple have bought Layford Park. I thought I should. It's only polite.
Oh, what are they like?
Well, they're called Cartland. Thank you, darling. And he's a motor car manufacturer, and she's a handsome woman. Rather nice.
Not only her.
Oh, I expect he's nice, too. It's just that he makes motor cars and wants to hunt.
What is the matter with that?
Nothing. He's enormously rich, apparently.
Well, how do you know?
The Rectory Information Bureau. When I dropped your note in for old Morris, he told me Mr. Cartland's worth a fortune.
Well, now, how in the heaven did Morris know that?
He got it from his housekeeper, and she got it from Mrs. Hedges. It's because they make all these motor cars in Wolverhampton.
Yes, you told me that. Now, what else did this gossiping old fool of a rector tell you?
Well, that Mr. Cartland has a son by his former marriage. She died, apparently, his first wife did.
Well, now, what's his age? I mean, his initials, his passport number. I mean, where did he go to school? I mean, is he C of E or RC? And was he in the war? And if so, what's his regiment?
Arthur, really?
Well, Mother would have discovered by now.
Yes, well, I'm not your mother.
Nope. No, you're not.
Anyway, you'll be able to ask him all these questions yourself. Get him to fill out a form, if you like.
Why?
Because I've invited them for drinks before lunch on Sunday. Yes, Nanny, what is it?
Could I speak to you for a moment, Mrs. Bond?
Yes, of course. Is it private?
Oh, no, it's not in the least bit private.
Oh, well, then, come along, Nan. Now, we're all ears.
Thank you. Well, it's about the coal for my schoolroom fire.
Oh, yeah. Now, what's the matter with that? Is it damp or something?
No, it's not damp, but I've been running a bit short lately.
Oh, have you?
Well, you see, Gates usually comes up from my scuttle and fills it every day in the wintertime. But he's not been coming up regularly in the last week or two. Well, I've been obliged to empty on the slack to prevent my fire going out. Now, I wouldn't mind getting the coal and bringing it up to the schoolroom, but, well, I just haven't got the strength these days.
Of course, Nanny, you haven't.
No, Nanny. Now, come on. The day you have to carry up your own coal, that'll be the end of civilization as we know it.
That's all right, then.
Yes, I'll see Gates about it.
Well,
Nanny.
I'd be grateful if you did.
Now, don't forget, Nan, Gates does have rather a lot to do.
Oh, I'm aware of that, Commander. And I wouldn't mind getting my own coal, as I say. Only it'd be a wee thing heavy, a full scuttle of coal up these back stairs.
Yes, indeed it is, Nanny.
Just leave it with me, Nanny. I promise I'll see to it.
Yes, well, thank you very much. Thank you, Mrs. Bond. I just thought I would mention it in the passing. Well, I won't bother you further.
Poor old Nanny grumbling again.
It was the ironing board yesterday, and today it's the coal. Not enough to do, I'm afraid, with all three girls away. Yes, that's what it is.
I meant what I said, you know. I mean, Gates has got plenty on his plate without wetting hand and foot on Nanny. There's Anne's mare to be groomed and mucked out. That's quite apart from stoking the boiler and digging over the garden. You know, seeing to the cars. Sweeping the leaves off the lawn. Well, they're bringing the logs in.
I know.
Well, just because he's a willing sort of chap, he mustn't put too much on you.
No, we mustn't. Well, Anne does see to Tallulah herself when she's here.
Yes, agreed, but I don't want Gates to be overworked. Oh, well. I suppose Anne will be wanting to hunt again this season.
Oh, good heavens, yes, it's her one joy in life.
You know, she ought to have other interests. I mean, you know, she's nearly 20. I mean, I'm all for her enjoying herself riding and going out hunting, but, damn it, she never reads a book. The conversation at table is really pretty naive. No, in fact, it is really rather childish on occasion.
It's not her fault, Arthur. She's not the intellectual type, not like Liz.
No, she certainly
But she's
isn't.
a very sweet, affectionate child. You must admit that.
Oh, darling, I love Anne. Very dearly. No, all I'm saying is that I wish she'd just had some other interest. I mean, for her own sake.
Well, perhaps her stay in London with Phyllis will have broadened her mind a bit, given her a taste for other things.
Well, let's hope so.
Irena Baronova. Titania Ryabushinska.
Good.
Evgenia Dalarova. Wasn't she the funny one? You know, the awkward pupil in the Squalo de Ballet.
That's right. Now, she's married to Maxine. He was the funny barman in Union Pacific.
Oh, yes, that was wonderful. Yuri Shabalevsky. He was marvellous, too.
Yes. The snob in the boutique fantasque with the silly walk.
And the faun himself. Oh, goodness. My beautiful, lovely, handsome David Lachine.
I'm not sure it's altogether hygienic to kiss a theatre programme, darling, even if it is a Covent Garden one.
Well, I'm not kissing my programme, I'm kissing Lachine.
Yes, he's rather divine, isn't he? Such a sweet boy, too.
Gosh, have you met him?
Oh, only once. I was introduced to him at a party given by Bruce Oakley. Do you know, he was very shy, hardly spoke a word. Mind you, they do speak very little English. Russian, of course, and French.
Oh, but he's so gorgeous, I could watch him dance forever.
Well, I never thought we'd turn you into a ballet-man.
A what?
A ballet lover, darling.
Oh, you will if it means going to Covent Garden to see those wonderful Russians. Only I do wish I could pronounce their names properly. What's this one?
Chernichova. Ludmila.
Chernichova.
Mm-hmm.
And this one? Daniel? Oh, Lord. I think I'm saying double again.
Not still.
Yes, isn't it funny? If I close my eyes and then open them, it's all right. But after a bit, I seem to see everything twice. Well, like I did at the ballet tonight.
Did you?
Yes. In the middle of L'après-midi d'un faun, I suddenly saw two Lachines on the stage at once. One for you and one for me. And then they sort of merged into one.
For you?
Of course.
That was the champagne, sweetie. You shouldn't have had that second glass at dinner.
Well, I didn't really want it. Only Mrs. Finsberg insisted, and I didn't like to refuse in case it was rude. Besides, Anna Finsberg had 2 glasses.
Anna Finsberg's used to champagne, darling. With the money they've got, she was probably weaned on Krug 28.
Are they terrifically rich?
Yes. But just try getting darling little Anna's tuition fees out of her mother. Why, Phyllis, my dear, I just don't happen to have my checkbook by me right now. Perhaps I could mail it to you later. She still owes me for several of Anna's lessons.
Still, she did treat us to a box at the ballet, and a yummy dinner at the Savoy first.
Quite right. It was very kind and generous of her. She's the mother of one of my regular pupils, and I mustn't be beastly about her. Especially as I have an open invitation to go to the States and stay with them at their summer home on Cape Cod whenever I like.
Gosh.
How about a glass of barley water as a nightcap?
Oh, yes, please, thanks. What are you having? Gosh, whiskey and soda, do you often?
Only when I'm tired. Never up at Larkfield. If I did, your dear father would boot me out of the house.
He wouldn't.
He might.
Do you like whiskey?
Not much. But it does have a marvellous way of cheering you up. If you're feeling a bit sad or lonely, well, then a tot of whiskey makes life seem so much better. If you're cold, it warms up the tummy. If you're nervous or anxious, or going to a party or out to dinner or something, gives you courage, takes the edge off your nerves.
Well, I'm sure you never need courage.
Oh, yes, I do.
But you're a very brave person. Mummy's often said so. I remember hearing her once say to Daddy when we were little, "Your sister's very brave, Arthur." Well, that's what she said to Daddy. I suppose she meant the way you drive your Buick when you come up to Larkfield, speeding up Watling Street at 50 miles an hour.
I don't think she meant that kind of courage, darling.
Which kind, then?
Some of us need quite a lot of courage just to live out our lives. Oh, there's Kasavina.
Who's Kasavina?
Was. She was very famous. In the old days, of course.
Oh, wasn't Mrs. Finsberg talking about her at dinner?
That's right. She'd seen her once dancing in Paris. Kasavina was a star of the Russian Imperial Ballet under Diaghilev, often partnered Nijinsky, and then married a diplomat called Mr. Bruce, and had a son at Eton called Nicky, who was taught Latin by your grandpapa.
Really? Gosh, I am sorry. How rude of me.
Not at all. It's late. Time you're in bed. You've had quite a week. Betty buys.
All right, Auntie.
You pop into your pyjamas. I'll bring you some Ovaltine.
Okay, thanks. I am a bit tired.
Off you go, then.
Oh, it is fun being in London, Aunt Phyllis. I'm loving it so much. Oh, it's such a change from Larkfield, and you're very kind to have me.
That was the idea, wasn't it? Off to bed now. There's a good girl.
Okay.
Now, Gates, I want you to be honest with me. I mean, is it a question of more wages or more help? I mean, or both? See, if you and Mrs. Gates are finding it difficult to manage, well, then don't be afraid to say so.
Oh, it's not the money, like I say, sir. We can manage nicely, the wife and I, with our Doris away and married. And, well, we live quite simple, sir. Just the odd trip into town for the pictures and a meal on our days off. Oh, and running the bike and sidecar, of course, but nothing fancy. No, we can manage all right, sir.
Good, but you are finding it a bit difficult on the work, sir?
Oh, well, sir, if you put it that way. As I was saying to Mrs. Gates, there's the garden, you see, and the stables and the boiler and... well, and the odd jobs around the house, sir.
Yeah, but in fact, in other words, you could do with a bit of help if you could get it. I mean, is that what you're trying to say?
Well, we wouldn't want to put you and Mrs. Bourne to any expense, sir.
No, Gates. No, that's not the point. No, as a matter of fact, I would be rather glad if you could do with another pair of hands to help you about the place.
Sir?
Yes, you see, we had this young lad up in court yesterday. A boy from Layford. Tapper, his name was, you know?
Tapper. Oh, there's a Mrs. Tapper who lives in the White Cottages near the Layford Crossroads, sir. Lost her husband in 1920. He died from wounds he got in the last push in France. Well, I've come across her once or twice, sir.
Oh, well, that'd be the lad's mother.
Oh, yes, sir.
Oh, well, then I won't go into detail. Well, let me just simply say that he pinched a bicycle from outside the cinema in Horbury. Admitted it, and we bound him over in good behaviour for 6 months.
Oh, yes, sir.
I heard yesterday that he got the sack from the dairy where he'd been working in Horbury. It's business. I mean, I suppose they're within their rights to dismiss a chap if he's been in trouble with the police.
That would be, sir.
You see, all the same, his offence wasn't very serious, and I'd like to give him a chance.
What? Yes, sir?
Well, no, Gates, come on. I mean, he's a country-bred boy, you know. Brought up on a farm. Well, he had to get this job in the dairy to support his mother. Well, I mean, he could be damn useful about this place. They give you a hand with Nanny's curl. He could do a bit of gardening. I mean, under your supervision, of course. He's a damn good handyman, I'm sure.
He don't sound to me suitable for employment here, sir, if you'll pardon me saying so. Not a lad that's been had up by the police for stealing.
Oh, Gates, he's 19. I'm first offender.
Yeah, well, that's as may be, sir, but he might pinch something from here. I wouldn't want the responsibility.
Oh, come on, Gates. You could keep him in order. Old Marine like you. Bit of discipline, you know. Bit of careful supervision. Well, he's just what you want. He'd take a load off your shoulders. Well, let's give the lad a try, eh? I mean, what do you say? See how it goes?
Very well, sir, if you wish.
I would like to, you know. Well, if only for the sake of his mother. I mean, she's a war widow.
Oh, yes, sir. Right you are, sir. I don't object.
Right. Well, then we take him off. 15 shillings a week and a bit extra for the odd Saturday. But mind you get the work out of him. Now, I want him kept well occupied. You know, keep him busy, keep him out of mischief.
Oh, I'll see to that, sir.
Well, I'm glad you agreed, Gates. So I wouldn't have taken him on without consulting you.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Right. Well, I'll drop a note to his mother, and then he can report to you, start work on Monday week.
Very good, sir. You leave him to me, sir. I'll see to him.
Thank you, Gates.
Oh, good morning, Gates.
Oh, good morning, madam.
Am I disturbing you?
No, do come in.
Well, how did he take it?
Oh, he's agreed, with reservations. I think he's a bit worried about the responsibility.
Well, I'm not surprised.
Well, he thinks the young codger's going to rob us, and he'll be blamed.
Well, that's absurd. I mean, if the boy does anything dishonest, it's not going to be Gates's fault. It'll be ours. Yours, really.
Oh, thank you very much.
Well, it was your idea to employ a thief in the house.
Oh, Daddy, he's not a thief. For heaven's sake, he's merely bound over.
He was convicted of stealing a bicycle.
Yes, he's not a hardened criminal. Heaven's sakes, I should know. Damn it, I tried it yesterday. At least we did. I mean, the three of us on the bench. I mean, whatever you may think of the system, I think we're as good a judge of character as any stipendiary magistrate. Them young Tapper, well, he's a country-bred boy. I lack your father's discipline. I did something stupid on the spur of the moment, but I think we owe it to him, don't we? I mean, for the sake of his mother. Well, I give him a job, chance to earn an honest living. It's not like you to show such intolerance.
I'm not being intolerant. It's not even the stealing. It's just having, I don't know, a young man in and out of the house all the time. Well, you know.
You mean with the three girls, have I? I mean, for God's sake, Helen, I mean, he's not going to seduce our three daughters one after the other.
Arthur, that's disgusting.
He'd be busy in the garden and the stables most of the time.
Well, I hope you know what you're doing.
Yes, I most certainly do.
You'll just have to be very careful, that's all.
Was there something else?
Yes. Those people coming for drinks for lunch tomorrow.
Oh, yes, from Layford Park.
Yes, the Cartlands.
Well, what about it?
Do you think we ought to ask anybody else to meet them?
No, I don't think so. Well, not the first time. I might turn out to be crashing Bournes. No, let's just be us.
All right. Are we all right for whiskey? I'm going into Horbury after lunch.
Yes, plenty of whiskey and gin in the pantry. Well, I said, I'm not giving it to them. No, we give them sherry first time out until we find out whether they're worth knowing or not.
Oh, now who's being intolerant? And mean.
I am. I'm not going to waste my damn good Scotch whiskey on some stinking rich motor car manufacturer or his equally stinking rich wife. Now, come on, you buzz off. Now, let me get this letter written to Mrs. Tapper. It's about the employment of her seducer son.
Good evening, Nanny. Here's your coat.
Better late than never. My fire's nearly out. Look at it.
Go on, there's plenty of red-hot embers in there. I'll soon get that going again.
Oh, well, on you go, Fred. If you think you can, you try. I'm just a wee bit too old to be puffing and blowing upside down inside that earth.
Eileen says that you've been complaining to Mrs. Bourne about your coal not coming up regular.
How would Mrs. Gates know that?
She heard you speaking to the commander and Mrs. Bourne in the hall yesterday tea time.
Oh, she did she? Well, it's not my place to fetch the scuttle and fill it from the coal hole. It never was.
Well, I do my best, Nanny, but I can't always be in two places at once now, can I?
Now, nobody's asking you to be in two places at once.
Ah, well, never mind. I expect the new lad will be bringing your coal up in future.
What new lad is that, pray?
Oh, dear. Haven't you heard? Young chap they're engaging to take some of the load off my hands.
You mean a footman?
No, Nanny. Not a footman. Not at Larkfield. Not in 1935. Odd job man. Like what I am. Only a young chap to take some of the load off my hands.
Nobody's mentioned anything to me about a new odd job man.
Well, why should they, Nanny? It's not your business, is it?
Everything that happens in this house is my business, Fred Gates. And where's the boy coming from anyway? Birmingham or London or where?
No, from Layford, just up the road. Been in trouble with the police for stealing a bike. Commander wants to give him a fresh start. He'd be like, a sort of reformed criminal out on parole. Oh, we'll have to watch him very careful.
Oh, mercy me, what do they think they're doing? Engaging a young criminal to work in this house?
Oh, well, at least you'll get your coal up regular, won't you, Nanny? Because he'll be bringing it up to you from now on. And mind you, treat him nicely when he comes up with your scuttle, or he might do you in with your own poker. Then he'll be up before the commander again, only this time for the willful murder of an old lady.
All murdered in our beds, that's what'll happen to us.
I thought you were only going to offer them sherry.
Well, I thought better of it. I don't want to appear too mean, not if they're going to be close neighbours.
I should hope not. Are you going to mix a martini?
If they want one. Yeah, I expect he will. You see, I mean, he'll be a sort of townsman, won't he? urban type, used to hotels, American bars, cocktail parties.
He comes from Wolverhampton.
Yes, but I don't see he's up in London quite a bit, business and abroad.
I suppose so. Actually, Morris was saying it wouldn't be a bad thing if this Mr. Cartland did take up hunting, and with all his money, he might help swell the hunt funds.
He'd probably end up as master of hounds, when old Stockley gives her.
Yes, well, the hound's always short of money, according to Anne. That's why they have these endless sweepstakes and things to raise compensation for the farmers.
I bet you that she is a muscular, hard-swearing, weather-beaten hunting Amazon with a face like the back of a rhinoceros.
Arthur, she's not a bit like that.
Oh, well, you said she was handsome. I mean, a handsome woman, you said. Yeah, well, I've had experience of your idea of handsome women, and I don't trust your judgment.
Well, she is handsome. Good-looking, if you like.
Yes, but not pretty or attractive.
You might think so.
And that means I won't. Don't. I mean, there. On the dot. Old Action Station.
Arthur, do be careful. Come away from the window.
Darling, I just want to get a quick preview so I don't register shop when they walk in. Oh, I say. Gee, it's a magnificent road. Oh, no chauffeur. Oh, it's probably his day off. Cartland's driving himself. I can't see their faces.
Arthur, please do come away from the window. They'll see you. Well, let them in.
Right you are.
Here it goes.
Ah, do come in. You found your way all right?
Yes, your wife's directions were quite exact, weren't they, darling?
Yes, they were. Do let me take those for you. Thank you. Well, do go in. Oh, of course, you've met my wife, haven't you?
Yes, we have. Hello again.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hello.
This really is most kind of you.
It's very nice of you to come.
Oh, it's not possible.
Good heavens, well, I'm damned. Rosie Bottle.
Yes.
Oh, good Lord, yes, it is you, isn't it? Oh, Henry, now why didn't you tell me it was Rosie?
Well, I didn't actually know it was...
Isn't this amusing? When your wife so kindly called yesterday, I mean, we were up to our necks in packing cases and trying to get the furniture straight. I only just caught the name of Mrs. Bourne. She didn't say anything about you, Arthur, and I didn't connect it with Arthur Bourne. Of all people, well.
I am sorry. I suppose I should have told you my husband was Commander Bourne, but, well, you know how it is. You obviously know each other.
Know each other? I should say we know each other. Do you remember our victory in the squadron tennis tournament out in Hong Kong?
Oh, will I ever forget it? And that cocktail party on board the flagship, when I nearly fell off the quarterdeck into the sea.
Oh, my dear, it was those lethal Warden White ladies. I mean, 90% gin.
And the dance on board, and swimming in the harbour afterwards.
Yes, of course, you were trying to teach me the karaoke.
In our wet bathing thing.
Oh, by Jove, yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Rosie and I really are very old friends, I mean, aren't we?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I am glad.
Yes, it is a small world, isn't it?
Yes, it does seem to be. Oh, I'd hardly call it little. 700 acres, 14 bedrooms, 2 lodges and the annex, not to mention the stable block.
Yeah, well, I expect you're planning to entertain quite a bit.
Oh, yes, we are.
What, shooting parties and so on?
Well, yes, of course. Well, Geoffrey would have liked a few 100 acres more land. And some more loose boxes, wouldn't you, darling?
Well, I do hope to go hunting 3 or 4 days in the week during the season, you know.
So you were saying?
Well, when are you going to have time to make your motor car?
Oh, Arthur, you're just the same. A great big silly tease.
I thought it was quite a fair question.
Oh, did you? Well, tell them, Geoffrey.
Well, actually, I'm the chairman and managing director of Cartland Motors. I have been since my father died, and he left me with majority shareholding. So I try to arrange for the employees to actually make the motor cars. In fact, we've a very useful little managerial department down at the works. Well, apart from board meetings and occasionally a sales conference, I try to leave them to it. I do call in a couple of times most weeks, but you'd appreciate it leaves me time for recreation.
Oh, yes, quite.
Well, you've certainly bought a lovely property. It'll be nice to think that Layford won't be allowed to fall into ruin and decay, not with you two there.
Yes, I'm afraid the Conningtons rather let it go. Well, they were rather hard up.
Like most of us.
Yes, they were rather poor creatures, weren't they? That's how we got the place dirt cheap.
Darling, I don't think that's the sort of thing you want to go around saying to people.
I'm not going around saying it to people, darling. I'm telling my old friend Arthur Bourne and his wife, and they're not just people, they're our new neighbours. And he is a very old friend, aren't you, Artie?
Artie?
For some unaccountable reason, you know, Rosie used to call me Artie. Well, it was when we were out in Hong Kong together, you know, that famous summer, 1923. Nobody else ever did.
I must say it's not quite you, darling, is it? I mean, I can see it was quite all right out in Hong Kong, surrounded by Chinese people, but, well, it's hardly suitable for a justice of the peace in Herefordshire.
I wouldn't say so.
No, I called him Artie quite intentionally. You see, he was on my father's staff, and consequently just the slightest bit.
No. Not pompous. Now, come on, Rosie.
Well, no, perhaps not pompous, but very aware of your own importance. Go on, admit it, Arthur.
Well, damn it. I mean, I was flag lieutenant of the Animal Commanding in the Far East. I was a Chinese houseboy.
I understand you have a splendid garden, prize-winning roses and all that. My gardener tells me that your delphiniums are the talk of the village.
Oh, how nice to hear it. Yes, well, we do try. I'm quite potty about the garden, actually, and so are the girls. It's not large, but, well, we manage to grow most of our own things, our vegetables, for instance, and we market the apples from our orchards. Mm-hmm. Perhaps you'd like to have a look around before you go.
Yes, very much so. I think perhaps a breath of fresh air would do us all a word of good.
Good. Well, bring your drink, and we'll leave these two to reminisce, shall we?
Oh. Yes, perhaps so.
If you'll excuse us.
Oh, yes, of course.
Mr. Cartland would like to see round the garden, darling.
Oh, yes, good idea. Well, do show him round. Oh, now, look, you don't want to drag round our garden, do you?
Oh, I'll do exactly as I'm told.
Right, then my orders are that you sit there. I'll get you another drink.
Aye, sir.
I can't get over it. Of all places.
Of all people, to find you living literally 3 miles away.
Now, where have you been since Hong Kong?
Me? Oh, you'll never guess.
Well, not in London, you know. We'd have bumped into each other.
Oh, well, I was in London for a short time. I shared a flat with an old school friend before I was married. And then, my dear, a semi-detached horror called Casablanca, which incidentally was made of dung-coloured pebble dash on the outskirts of Wolverhampton.
Oh, good Lord.
Well, Geoffrey was working in his father's factory at the time. Kept him very short of money.
Well, learning the job from the bottom, I suppose.
Well, from halfway up the ledger department. No, thank you. Anyway, he wasn't getting paid what he was worth, being his father's son, so there was I getting up at 7 o'clock every morning, cooking his breakfast and waving him goodbye at the gate of our disastrous little residence. One of a million average British housewives, as the Daily Mail would say.
Oh, that is quite a change from Hong Kong.
Oh, yes. Well, Geoffrey's father wanted him to know how ordinary people lived.
I mean, this is George Cartland, isn't it? I mean, the industrialist. Well, took over several small motorcar manufacturers after the war.
Yes, VAL Engineering, a couple of bus companies. So when the old man died, he left his shares to Geoffrey. So now...
You no longer wave him goodbye at the front gate.
No, the butler does that. He hands him the Times and tucks a rug around his knee and nods politely to Cooper the chauffeur, who glides down the drive at the wheel of the Rolls, with Geoffrey lying in the back like an Eastern potentate.
Ah, well, now, of course, he can do what he likes and live where he likes.
Yes, and he happened to like Herefordshire. Well, it's very handy for Wolverhampton, you see.
When did you finally marry?
Well, I don't think I like that word, finally. Makes me sound rather desperate.
Oh, of course you weren't desperate, Rosie. Not with half the fleet in love with you.
Oh, don't exaggerate. Anyway, I was 27 when we first met.
Yes, and you could have married anyone you liked.
No, not really. The sub-lieutenants were all too young, or scared of father. And the lieutenant commanders were mostly married.
Well, like me.
Yes. Damn you.
Come on, Rosie. We had some very good times
Oh,
together.
Don't be modest, darling. You are very special. And you know it. Anyway, to answer your question, I finally got married in 1930. The year before Mother died.
Yes, I'm sorry about that. Read it in the Times.
And she wrote Father and me a very nice letter.
Oh, did I?
If I'd known Daddy was going to be widowed quite so soon, I probably wouldn't have married Geoffrey. Well, not then, anyway. I'd have let Daddy get on his feet again.
How is he? How's the Admiral?
Oh, he's in tremendous form. He has a jolly nice little flat in Queensgate with a full-time housekeeper and quite an interesting, quite important job at the Admiralty. He's fine.
Oh, you see much of him?
Oh, yes. When Geoffrey and I go up to London, we go and play bridge with him. Oh, and Peter, he's very fond of the old boy.
Peter.
Oh, he's my stepson. Geoffrey's son. Oh, he's such a nice boy. He's 25, very good looking. His mother died.
Oh, yes, I gathered there.
Yes, he has his own flat in Chesham Street. He works in the city.
Good for him.
I say he must meet your girls.
Yes, he must.
And when we're really settled, I must get Daddy up for the weekend. I mean, I know he'd love to see you again.
Yes, my old chief. My word, that would be splendid. Yes, well.
So, with one thing and another, it looks as if you and I are going to see quite a lot of each other.
Yes, it does, doesn't it?
Come on, tell me about your girls. I hear they're very good looking. The beautiful Bourne girls. I mean, everybody talks about them.
Oh, do they? No. What sort of people?
Oh, friends of Daddy's. People one meets in naval circles, you know.
This will be my old mother, you see. I mean, she goes about saying how attractive they are, trying to sort of attract suitors. Don't get them off our hands. She's just like an old procurist.
Well, are any of them married?
Well, why don't you give them a chance? I mean, Elizabeth, the eldest, she's 22, and, well, the youngest comes out this summer, Vicky.
I'm dying to meet them. Where are they?
Oh, they're scattered at the moment. Now, Elizabeth is staying in Wales with a friend, and the middle one. Now, she's up in London with my sister Phyllis. We're doing the rounds of theatres and museums. And the youngest, well, she's still in Germany, with a German family, the von Heinigs. And, well, they'll all be home for Christmas, with a bit of luck.
Well, you must bring them over to see us.
We will.
It's a bit too chilly to stay long out there.
Yes, it's quite a nip in the air. Still, it is November, I suppose. You have a very nice garden.
Oh, but that's thanks to my wife, in our man Gates. Look, I'm telling you, you must have another drink before you go.
No, not for me, Arthur. We must wend our way. There's still so much more unpacking to do over there, you know.
Extraordinary how many books one collects, Suddenly a moving house and there are crates of them all over the place.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Bourne. It was kind of you to ask us over. And I'm thrilled to find Arthur so near. I mean, it couldn't be more fun.
Good. Well, I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of each other. If there's anything we can do to help, please ring.
Oh, thank you. We will. Goodbye, Arthur. We will be in touch, won't we?
Rather.
Well, goodbye, Mrs. Bourne. Thank you for the drink.
Bye.
Oh, there we are, aren't you?
Oh, thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye. Bye, Rosie.
Well, that was a surprise.
Oh, what was?
You knowing her.
Yeah.
She seems very nice. Very forthcoming.
Yeah.
You'd never take him for a self-made man?
Oh, no, he's not really, no. His father was, old George Carlton, the industrialist, but, Geoffrey inherited the family concern.
After a good schooling.
Done it. Oh, mind you, he had to work damned hard, before he took over in the factory. Yes, she told me that.
Do you think he has social ambitions?
Hunting and all that.
Yes. All that.
Oh, I think he'd like to be accepted in the county, Which, of course, he very soon will be, when those vultures find out how damn well off he is.
And that he's married to a pretty senior admiral's daughter.
Yes, I expect that could help.
And a few lavish dinner parties over at Layford Park with dozens of servants, champagne flowing.
Yes, that might help, too.
Nothing like buying yourself into county society, is there?
Oh, now, come on, Harry, now, that is not very fair. Oh, he's not a bad chap, really. I mean, he has to have a damn good brain, run a big motor car factory like that. Besides, if we play our cards right, we might get a new car out of him, Like trade price. No. I think you've got to take people as you find them. Although I must confess, I can't think where she found him.
Oh, I can't think where he found her.
Oh, no.
Arthur, Did you sleep with that woman out in Hong Kong?
What, Helen, really? What a question. Hello? Yes? Oh, Phil. No, we've just had some people in for drinks, that's all. Yes, they're gone. What? Why?
Is it Anne? Or what's happened?
Well, yeah. Yes, of course, bring her home tomorrow if you want to. No, not at all. No, it's just that I think Helen imagined that she was going to stay with you until the end of next week. No, it doesn't matter. You come, what? Oh, is she? Oh, I see. Yeah, well, do, yeah. Well, I mean, we'll expect you, what, tomorrow sometime around tea time? All right, my dear. Yep. Goodbye.
Am I allowed to know what all that was about?
Yes, you are. Now, Phyllis wants to bring Anne home tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Why?
Oh, I have no idea.
She must have said something.
Well, she lowered her voice as if she didn't want to be overheard. Then she said she had her reasons, but she would rather not discuss them over the telephone.
Obviously, Anne's upset her. Phyllis wants to get rid of her.
Yes, that's what I fear.
Silly girl to go and fall out with Phyllis.
I mean, she's been misbehaving herself, hasn't she? Why, going out on her own, coming back late.
It's making Phyllis worry about her. It's so thoughtless of her, but I'm afraid Anne is.
Well, I mean, I suppose that's what's happened. Well, I mean, it must be.
I do wish to goodness you'd have asked Phyllis to say outright why they're coming home so soon. Why didn't you?
Because, my dear, she hung up the receiver before I could ask
and
her.
why is she bringing her home? And I mean, why couldn't she just put the child on a train? I'm going to ring her straight back and ask. I mean, we must know.
Helen, leave it. Leave it. I mean, we'll know tomorrow. It'll only embarrass her to ring back and ask. I mean, if Anne's still in the room, well, I mean, maybe they've had a blazing row.
Oh, do you think they're sitting there in that flat not talking to each other?
Well, it's quite possible, you know. Not much between my sister and my second daughter when it comes to pig-headed.
Anne isn't pig-headed.
Well, she can be. I mean, do you remember that ghastly row we had over that New Year's Eve costume?
That wasn't pig-headedness. She thought her costume was quite harmless and that you were making a terrific fuss over nothing. In fact, she told me afterwards she thought you were a little pig-headed yourself.
Where did she? Now, where are you going?
To inform Nanny that our pig-headed younger daughter is returning home tomorrow so that she can get her room ready for her. And by the way, that question I asked you before the telephone so conveniently rang.
What question?
I think you know.
Well?
I'd rather not know the answer, darling, so please don't tell me.
All right, then. I won't.
Yes, who is it?
Oh, all right to come in, Nanny.
Oh, it's you, is it?
That's right, Nanny, it's me.
Well?
Fire all right?
See for yourself, it is.
Colder out today.
It is.
Eileen says we'll soon be having a fire over the lodge.
Yes, I expect you will.
It'll soon be Christmas, eh, Nanny?
Yes, then Easter, then Whitsun, then what are you standing about there for? Have you come up here to tell me something important or merely to pass the time of day?
Well, I came up to say that I'm sorry if I shook you up last night.
Shook me up? How did you shake me up, may I ask?
Well, about young Jim Tapper. He'll not lay a finger on you, Nanny, I'll make sure of that. I was having a kind of joke, like teasing.
Oh, that what it was?
Oh, it was just that Eileen thought I might have upset you, so, well, here I am.
I see.
Go straight up to Nanny, she said. Tell her you didn't mean what you said and apologise. So, well, here I am.
Yes, you are, aren't you?
Yes, well, that's all, Nanny. Cheerio, then.
Cheerio.
Oh. Aren't you coming to church?
No, I wasn't going to do. Well, not this evening, no.
Oh, you're not going this morning. I thought you might make
I've got a lot of letters to write. You go. Well, say a prayer for me.
Nanny's coming with me.
Good.
What's the matter, Arthur? You're in a mood, aren't you? I can always tell.
I'm not in a mood. Why should I be?
You were very piano all through lunch, and you've been buried in here most of the afternoon.
Ever since what?
Never mind.
But ever since what?
Ever since those people came to drinks this morning.
Well, by those people, do you mean the Cartlands?
Yes, I do.
Well, then why don't you call them the Cartlands?
All right, ever since the Cartlands came to drinks this morning. Haven't you?
Well, haven't I what?
Been in a funny mood.
Oh, good heavens. Well, now, we're not going to have a great big injured, suspicious wife seat, are we? Oh, just because an attractive woman I happened to meet years ago comes to live in the district. Oh, you are dying to find out whether I have an affair in Hong Kong.
No, I'm not. I'd much rather not know. And it's not me who's in a mood, it's you. I'm as cheerful as a lark. If you feel guilty about Rosemary Cartland and want to get it all off your chest, I'm ready to listen to anything you want to tell me, darling. I love you much too much to mind, and I'm not easily shocked. We are living in the 30s.
Helen, there's nothing to tell. Nothing at all. Oh, Rosie Cartland and I, well, we played tennis together, we danced together, bathed together, went on picnics together all through that summer. But only because we were thrown together by virtue of my appointment as her father's flag lieutenant.
You were just being polite.
Yes, polite. Oh, I liked her, and she liked me. But that was there.
I see.
Now, off you go to church like a good girl. Now, you take Nanny with you. Oh, when you get there, you might ask God to forgive you for being a suspicious wife. Well, thinking the worst of your husband. Oh, come here.
I'll tell Morris you're snowed under with correspondence.
Yes. Yes, please.
Anyone in?
Well, we're earlier than I said. Oh, it's only 4:30.
Oh, there you are. Oh, my. Did you have a good time?
Yes, lovely, thank you. I've decided Aunt Phyllis isn't the universal aunt any longer. From now on, she's going to be called the fairy godmother.
Nonsense. It was fun for me having you to stay.
Where are Mummy and Daddy?
Well, they were in the game larder just now, but I expect they'll have heard the car.
Oh, is it all right for me to stay tonight? I wasn't going to bring this child back, but I thought she should come by car rather than the train.
Well, of course you're expected to stay. Your room's all ready. And so is yours, my darling. Oh, my, grand to have you home. You're a wee bit pale, though. Too many late nights, maybe. And the London fogs. Never mind, we'll soon get the colour back in your cheeks now you're home again, eh?
Yes, I expect so.
Yes.
Oh, thank you, Gates. How are you keeping?
Oh, pretty well, thank you, Miss Bourne.
Hello, Gates.
Ah, good afternoon, miss.
How's Tallulah?
Oh, she's fine, miss. Put on a bit of weight, mind. But I expect you'll soon have her out with hounds, and that'll fine her down a bit.
Yes. Well, I'll go out and see her in a tick, but better greet the parents first.
Will you pop off and see your horse, darling? I'll explain.
Won't they mind?
I'm sure they won't.
Oh, on you go. Away you go to the stables. Don't be too long, though.
All right.
And how are you, Nan?
Oh, not getting any younger, dearie. Had a bit of rheumatism since I saw you last week. Oh, I'm pretty fine all the same. Oh, but I've missed those girls, I'll tell you that.
I bet you have. Still, you'll have us all for Christmas. That'll be soon enough.
Oh, there they are already.
Oh, goodness, Phyllis, my girl, you've been scorching again in that old Birk of yours. You know, you are going to be head up for speeding one of these days, my girl.
Well, I must admit, today was the fastest time I've ever done up here from London.
Where's Anne?
Oh, she was dying to see that wretched horse of hers. I was sure you wouldn't mind.
No, of course not. We must talk.
Yeah. Look, I suggest we go into the study.
Well, are we going to have some tea? Oh, I'm dying of thirst.
Yes, of course, we can have it right away. Nanny, be a dear and ask Mrs. Gates to put the kettle on, would you?
Certainly.
Well, now, come on, Phil. Sit down. What is it? You've been having trouble, haven't you?
had trouble. Oh, no, it's not me. It's Anne.
I do hope she hasn't upset you too much. I know you've had words.
What do you mean?
Well, because on the telephone yesterday you said you'd rather not mention your reasons for bringing her home
Well,
early.
so naturally we thought she must have been getting on your nerves in London. You wanted to get rid of her.
You didn't want to say so in case Anne overheard you.
Oh, Lord, no. We haven't had a row. Not a cross word between us. As a matter of fact, we've had lots of fun and lots of laughs. Darling Anne is really rather good company.
Well, that is a relief. Is something the matter with her?
Well, Phil, what is it?
I'm probably being very stupid.
But what?
For the last 4 or 5 days, she's been seeing double.
What on earth do you mean?
Having double vision. She'll suddenly see 2 of me or the clock or something. If she's reading, words appear to her twice.
Oh, probably means she'll have to have her eyes tested. I mean, poor dears may have to wear glasses.
Yes, it must be her eyes.
Well, the first time it happened, we laughed. This American woman had taken us to the ballet and we dined first at the Savoy. Anne thought she'd had too much champagne. Or I did. Anyway, I put her to bed that night, thought no more of it. But it happened again the next morning, and she complained of a slight headache. Well, I gave her an aspirin and made her lie on her bed all afternoon with the curtains closed, and it went off a bit. But she's getting these headaches every so often. And this afternoon, coming up in the car, she had a real blind. I mean, like a migraine. The child was in agony. I had to stop on the road and comfort her. We eased off before we got to Gloucester. But I'm afraid there's something very wrong with her eyes.
Yes, well, there must be.
God.
I don't want to alarm anybody. But you do know that double vision is a fairly common symptom of trouble with the optic nerve. And I couldn't help wondering if there might have been just a little bit more damage to her brain than the doctors realized after her fall in that wretched point-to-point last spring.
No, surely not.
She did get a fairly heavy kick on the head. Well, she was unconscious for over 48 hours.
Exactly. Now, who knows, it might not have started up something that's taken all this time to develop. Oh, Helen, I'm sorry to be so pessimistic, but I'm worried by these headaches. And I think you should get her to see someone as soon as it can be arranged.
Who is it?
Me? Anne? Is it all right to interrupt?
Come in, darling.
Hello, Mummy.
Hello.
Hello, Daddy.
Hello, darling.
Do you know Tallulah gave me a sloppy great kiss and told me she was delighted to see me? Wasn't that tactful of her?
Did she, darling?
Daddy, I'm back. Are you there? Who is it? Oh, Daddy, it's not funny. Who is it? Who are you?
Me?
Stay right where you are, or I'll ring for the police.
What for?
How did you get into this house?
Mrs. Gates let me in the back like she always does. I work here.
You work here?
That's right. I helped Mr. Gates round the place. Commander Bourne gave me the job. I started Monday.
Well, I'm sorry, but no one told me about you, so naturally I thought... Anyway, what are you doing in my father's study?
Always men in the lamp by the desk. Are you Miss Elizabeth then?
Yes, I am.
Oh, well. That's all right then.
It should be. I'm not an intruder. I live here.
Yeah, that's right.
What's your name?
Tapper.
Anything else?
Yes.
No, I didn't mean that. I meant what's your first name? Or are we to call you Tapper?
Oh, well, Commander Bourne and his wife, they call me Tapper and Miss Anne. Then through there call me Jim.
Who's them through there?
Well, Mr. Gates, Mrs. Gates and Nanny.
Well, I shall call you Jim. It's friendlier. By the way, it's not them through there. It's those through there.
Oh, is it?
Well, yes, to be correct. Are you living with Mr. and Mrs. Gates at the lodge?
No, miss. I live over Layford way with me mum. Come on, we cycle.
Oh, well, I mustn't keep you, must I? It's getting late.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, there's my wee Liz.
Nanny, how are you?
Well, Mrs. Gates said she was sure she heard your car coming up the drive. Let me look at you. I put her a wee bit fuller in the face.
Am I?
Oh, but you look real bonny, I'll say that for you.
Jim and I have just introduced ourselves.
Oh, yes.
Haven't we, Jim?
Yes, miss.
Well, if you're finished in the commander's study, you can go through to the kitchen and see about that leaking tap.
All right.
And when you've done that, Mrs. Gates will give you a cup of tea and a piece of cake.
All right.
Well, off you go then, young man.
Oh, he gave me such a fright.
Eh?
Well, he came through the study door in the dark, shining a torch at me.
Jim did?
Well, no one told me about him in any of their letters, so naturally I thought he was a burglar.
Oh,
Well, I think I'll go upstairs and unpack my case.
yes, dear.
Where are the others?
Oh, they'll be back by 7 o'clock.
I do think someone might have told me about Jim.
A burglar, eh? Well, we'll see.
What do you mean, Nanny?
Shh, wait till we get to your room and then I'll tell you all about Master Jim Tapper.
Well, what about Jim Tapper? Isn't he honest?
That young scallywag was up before the magistrates at Holbury for stealing a bicycle outside the picture house.
Good heavens.
And they let him off with a caution. But your father liked the boy's face, if you please, and decided to give him a job here. Don't ask me why.
Was he unemployed?
No, he got the push from the dairy in Holbury where he was working.
I thought he said he lived over at Layford.
So he does with his withered mother.
So he cycles over here every day?
Yes, to help Gates round about the place. Odd jobs, you know, mostly in the garden.
Well, good for Daddy, giving the poor young man a chance to
Yes,
work.
well, we'll see.
You said that before.
He stole a bicycle, Liz. He's a thief.
He doesn't look like a thief. Well, not with the lights on.
Well, I would look after my valuables if I were you, that young scallywag about the place. Oh, what have you done to your tweed skirt? It's all tattered and torn. Look at it.
I know, I'm sorry about that, Nanny. Jaunty and I went climbing in the mountains one day, and I got caught up on a sharp rock. When I jumped down, it ripped.
Oh, well, that'll have to go to the menders. And did you enjoy your stay in Wales?
Oh, yes, it was a marvellous change. I felt so well there, too, living a simple life on the farm. Just up early, walking, talking with Jaunty, and early bed.
You look a lot better than when you left.
Oh, I am, Nanny. I feel like a new person. Suddenly, I know exactly what I want to do with my life.
Oh, you do you?
Yes, I do. I'm going to find lodgings in London as soon as I can, like I was going to do before.
Oh, yes.
And I'm going on with my medical studies and try and get into a teaching hospital.
Oh, I suppose you're right, dear.
I know I am. Oh, cheer up, Nanny. I shall be home at weekends and for Christmas and Easter.
It's just that I don't like to see a nice family breaking up and scattering. They always do in the end when the young ones grow up.
We're not grown up, Nanny. We're growing up. I say, any news from Vicky?
Oh, yes. I had a postcard from this one. Now, where did I put it? Oh, there you are. You can read it if you like.
Berliner Sportspalast. Gosh, it's enormous. This is where the Olympic Games will be held next year. She'll be home before then.
And for good. She's finished with Germany now.
So we'll all be home for Christmas, as per usual. And not all scattered, Nanny, darling.
Yes, that'll be nice, dearie, yes.
Liz, where are you?
Oh, in my room, unpacking.
Oh, there you are, darling. Back safe and sound.
Of course I'm safe and sound.
How lovely to have you home. Was it a very tiring drive?
Oh, not a bit. Jonty put me up a picnic lunch, which I ate as I drove along, and I stopped on the roadside for coffee from the thermos. Where have you all been?
I'm afraid our train was a little bit late, darling.
What
That's why
train?
we're from Paddington. Didn't Nanny tell you we were in London?
No.
I forgot to mention it, Mrs. Bourne. Excuse me.
What on earth have you all been doing in London?
Oh, it's nothing very much, darling. It's just that when Aunt Phyllis brought Anne back from London a little bit earlier than expected at the beginning of last week because she was having a little bit of trouble with her eyes and some rather nasty headaches.
Sounds as if she needs glasses.
Yes, well, it may be that. Anyway, Dr. Cropper said she ought to see an oculist and a specialist in London just to make sure.
What sort of specialist?
So I took her down by train yesterday morning and we spent the night with Aunt Phyllis and Daddy met us back off the train just now.
Mummy, why did she have to see a specialist as well as an oculist?
Oh, hello, old bean.
Anne.
All in one piece, no bones broken. Saw the old tin bus outside. Oh, Daddy says you're to put it away in the garage and come and see him in his study because he's almost forgotten what you look like.
Right, I will in a minute.
Finish your unpacking, darling, then come down into the hall.
Right you are.
Oh, leave your car. Gates will see to it. Just come and see your father.
Okay, as soon as I've unpacked.
I'll help you.
Don't chatter for too long.
We won't. Oh, goodness, I'm glad you're back. I've missed you. Where does this go?
Top drawer of the chest. I say, I'm sorry to hear about your eyes, you poor old cross-eyed creature.
I know, it's too silly, this seeing double all the time. Just when I'm tired, I sort of go all out of focus.
I'm sure you need glasses.
Oh, I do hope not. I'll never get a husband wearing specs.
Nonsense. Lots of men find girls in glasses very attractive, didn't you know?
By the way, my oculist in London is terrifically good looking. Rather your type.
What's my type?
Well, sort of elderly.
Elderly, thanks.
In his late 30s, bit grey at the temples, exactly like Ronald Colman. Rather a seductive voice.
Lucky you.
I do hope I go and see him again. He's got a lovely big consulting room in Devonshire Street, quite near Aunt P's flat.
What did he say about your eyes?
Oh, nothing really. Just tested them, you know, made me read all those letters and numbers. Then Mummy took me to this other doctor in Harley Street. He wasn't attractive at all, very old and smelt of a pipe. He put electric wires on my head. I don't know what that was all about.
That's electroencephalogram. It's what you had after your fall at the point-to-point. She wouldn't remember because you were unconscious. Oh. Who arranged all this?
Oh, Croppy, I think. Yes, I'm sure he did.
Oh, not Brian.
Dr. Harrington? Oh, gosh, no. He's gone. I mean, he's left Horbury altogether. Didn't anyone tell you?
No.
Oh. Well, when Aunt P brought me back from London because of my headaches and seeing things twice, Mummy and Daddy rang the doctor's house, and dear old Dr. Cropper answered the telephone. Apparently, he hasn't retired yet. Said he'd come out and see me himself, as Dr. Harrington had gone off to a new post as a consultant in a hospital in Liverpool. He left a fortnight ago. So that's that, isn't it?
Yes. I see. Well, I'm glad.
Are you?
Yes. It's what he wanted. He was never meant to be a cosy, tweedy, a country doctor in a little backwater like this.
No, I suppose not. If you'd married him, you'd be in Liverpool by now, wouldn't you?
Yes, I suppose I would.
What a ghastly thought, isn't it?
So, old Croppy recommended you to see a specialist as well as an oculist.
And thank goodness he did, because it meant another trip down to London, which I suddenly love now. Mummy took me once more to the ballet, and this time it was Coriatum and Tricorn, which I hadn't seen.
Gosh, yes, you said in your letter you'd been to the ballet at Covent Garden with Aunt P and some Americans.
And I'm hopelessly and deeply in love with a Russian dancer called David Lishine.
Yes, you said that in your letter too.
Are you going to marry him?
Oh, one day, yes. Unless he objects to my spectacles.
When will you know if you have to wear glasses?
Oh, tomorrow afternoon Dr. Cropper's coming over here to tell Mummy and Daddy what these oculists and people think is wrong with me. Come on, we must go down. Your father wishes to see you at once in the study, Miss Elizabeth.
That sounds like the Barretts of Wimpole Street.
Oh, who are they? Friends of Aunt P?
Not exactly. Never mind. Liz.
Am I going blind?
Darling, how can you think such a thing? You blind? I've never heard such nonsense.
It's just that after he'd seen me, Mr. Wells, the glamorous oculist, he had a rather long and private talk with Mummy while I sat in the waiting room. And again with this other doctor in Harley Street, the one who put electric wires on my head. Mummy seemed just a little bit odd for a time afterwards.
Odd?
Yes, afterwards. While we had an ice cream soda at Selfridge's and on the way to Paddington in the taxi.
Well, perhaps she was just worried about catching your train.
Yes, that was probably why. Well, later on I'll show you what I've brought Vicky for Christmas. And you must tell me what you want. Come on.
Yes, I gather you did. Nanny told me. Oh, no, I'm sorry I wasn't in. You know, I had to collect Helen and one of the girls off the London train. Oh, look, it's most awfully kind of you, Rosie, but unfortunately we've got the doctor coming in here tomorrow. Yes, 12:30. Well, you see, he may be some little time, and then I've got to go over to Oxfield directly after lunch to see about a new milking machine, so another time. Yes, we'd love to. Oh, yes, we've got our eldest home now, you know. Liz. Yes, that's right. Yes. And motored herself back from Wales today. Yes, Vicky next week, so... I'm so sorry. What was that? Oh, over Christmas. Yes, we must, yes. And I'm sorry about tomorrow, Rosie. Yes, all right. Goodbye. Well, how's my big girl?
Daddy.
Well, how was the journey? Car still grinding along?
Grinding? It hums along like a bird.
Oh, my word, listen to that. What did I tell you? Grinding.
I do wish Anne would learn to use the gears properly. She never puts her foot far enough down on the clutch pedal.
You see, horses don't have to change gear.
Oh, she offered very sweetly to put it away in the garage for me. I suppose one can't be angry with her.
No, not at the moment. Oh, not until we hear what Dr. Cropper has got to say tomorrow.
Mummy muttered something to me just now about Anne's fall in the point-to-point. Whether the kick on her head might have damaged the optic nerve or something. Is that what Dr. Cropper thinks?
You see, actually, that was your Aunt Phil's idea, which we rather tended to scorn until the oculist said so too. I mean, that's why Anne went up to see this Harley Street specialist today.
He's going to ring up Dr. Cropper with his report.
Don't say too much to Anne.
Oh, I haven't. But she's ready to wear glasses, I know that.
Yes. Well, now, what about you?
I'm fine. I've been brooding over my future a bit.
Uh-huh.
Daddy, would it be dropping the most awful bombshell if I did actually leave home after Christmas? I want to go to London and get digs and try and get into a teaching hospital. Do you know how much I've always wanted to make use of my Oxford BM? And I do want to be a doctor. Lots of girls do nowadays.
Yes, Liz, look here, I'm not against it, you know. Nor is your mother. It's a very fine profession and one to be very proud of. Only
what?
Not one to be pursued at the expense of marriage and children. I mean, so long as you don't lose sight of the domestic element of life. And after all, you're a woman, you know. I promise not to forget that. Oh, yes, I know, you know what I mean.
Oh, yes, Daddy, I do. Absolutely. And I promise you that as soon as I meet and fall in love with a man who loves me enough, I will marry him and have lots of babies. But you must let me fulfill my need to do something useful with my life in the meantime.
Otherwise, I'll just sit about here and my brain will rot.
Message received and understood. And I think we'd better go up and change for dinner. It's very good to have you home.
It's lovely to be home. I say, that new young man helping out Gates gave me a terrible scare when I got back after tea.
Oh, did he?
Yes. Well, he was mending your desk lamp and I thought he was a burglar.
Oh, young Jim Tapper. Well, I may be proved wrong, you know, but I think there's some good in that young man, and I'm prepared to give him a chance in life.
Quite right. Was that someone asking us over tomorrow? Rosie somebody?
Oh, that. Oh, that's Rosie Cartland, you know. Her father was my admiral out in Hong Kong. She's married a motor car magnate, pots of money, and they bought Layford Power.
Oh. Is she nice?
No, who?
Rosie Cartland.
Oh, she's all right. Yeah. Look here, come on, now, you'll be late for dinner. Tell Anne, will you? It's ordered for 8:30.
Come in. Oh, you're not in bed yet?
No.
Oh, you must be very tired after your long drive.
Yes.
Darling, I mustn't keep you up, but I'd like to have a talk with you.
Yes, of course. Well, I've done my hair. I might as well climb in.
I'll tuck you up, darling. That's something I haven't done for ages.
I think I'm a bit too old to be tucked in, Mummy, don't you think?
Not to me. But still, if you'd rather I didn't.
I'm all attention. Talk away.
Yes. I gather from Daddy that you want to leave home and go on with your medical studies in London.
Yes, I do.
Darling, I know it's for your father to decide these things finally, especially if you're going to fork out the money for a flat for you to share, but don't you think you could have come to me too and talked about it? After all, I am your mother.
But you're always so busy.
That's ridiculous. Daddy's busy too. Besides, no mother's too busy to listen to her own daughter's problems and worries. At least I should hope not. No, it's just that you've seemed so far away from me lately. I don't know why. We never seem to talk like we used to. Ever since you went to Oxford, I feel I hardly know you.
Goodness, Mummy, I haven't changed that much, have I?
Yes, you have. Is it because you've had things to hide from me?
Possibly.
Things you felt that you couldn't discuss with me?
Yes, I suppose so. I am 22. I'm supposed to be grown up. I just don't think a daughter of 22 has to come running to her parents with every little upset and emotional crisis she has in her life. I'm old enough now to lead my own life and face my own problems.
Yes, of course you are, darling, but a mother's advice can sometimes be quite helpful.
Yes, I know it can, and a father's and a grandfather's.
Yes,
too.
everybody's but your mother's.
I didn't say that.
No, but you meant it.
Not really.
Yes, you did. You never come to me about anything. We're not blind, you know, darling. We were quite aware, all of us were, that you lost your heart to Dr. Harrington. And I do happen to know, though you never chose to tell your own mother, that he asked you to marry him, and that you, thank God, kept your head and refused him. Well, that was sensible and adult of you, darling, but, dear child, don't you think you could have come to me just once and confided in your own mother? Am I such an ogre as all that? I wouldn't have scolded you, you know. I'd have listened to you and sympathized with you and tried to help you. Surely you know that, darling. Why is it that you of the three of you seem so far away, so distant, so unloving?
I'm not unloving, Mummy. That's not fair. I do love you just as much as Anne and Vicky do. I'm just made differently, I suppose. I'm rather a proud person, and I'm trying to be adult and independent. But that doesn't stop me loving you just the same. Perhaps I don't show it. I can't always show it. I'm sorry.
I'm in a bit of a state tonight, darling. I'm sorry. It's Anne waiting for news from those wretched doctors in London. I'm so worried about her.
I know. We all are.
I just feel a need at a time like this for us all to be close. It's silly, I know.
No, it's not silly. We should, all of us, be as loving as we can be. I should have told you about Brian. It was deceitful of me. But I was afraid that you and Daddy would be so angry with me that you'd stop me seeing him and perhaps tell Croppy, find another doctor, and get Brian into awful trouble. I couldn't have borne that. Afterwards, it just became my own private, secret life. It's all over now, anyway.
Yes, darling.
Anne'll be all right. I'm sure it's just eye strain. Lots of girls have to wear glasses.
Yes, darling.
Oh, that's their donkey Bronwyn. Isn't she sweet? Too loud, Liz. I am trying to listen to this.
Oh, sorry.
That's Jonty's mother, with a friend who came over one Sunday. That's another one of the mountains.
Oh, there you all are. Don't get up, Nanny.
I'm just showing Nanny some of my Welsh snaps.
And I am attempting, without much success, to listen to the faun and remind myself of
Claude Debussy.
David Lachine, my intended.
It was just to say that Dr. Cropper's just arrived.
Shall I come down?
No, darling, no need for the moment. I'd like you both to stay up here with Nanny, just so we know where you are, in case he wants to see you later, Anne.
Very good, Mrs. Bond.
Be good girls, and not too loud with the gramophone, eh?
Debussy isn't loud.
Well, it must be coming out to a busy time of year for you.
Yes, it is round about now. There seem to...
Good morning, Dr. Cropper. So good of you to come out.
Not at all, my dear. I promised I would.
The girls are upstairs in the schoolroom with Nanny, amusing themselves. I've told Anne to be on tap in case you want to see her.
Yes, quite.
Well, shall we sit down and have our little talk?
Well, I rather thought...
Yes, I think Dr. Cropper would prefer to talk to me in the study first. Isn't that right?
I would prefer it if you wouldn't mind too much. I've got the specialist report here, and it's long and a bit complicated. If I could talk it over with the commander, and then he could give you the gist of it later on.
Well, if that's how you wish.
Well, I think so, darling. We shan't be very long.
I see.
Could you find something to do? Might keep you busy just for a few minutes.
Oh, I shall just sit down here and, and wait.
That's sensible.
Well, come along. A what?
Well, a small tumour. As I said, a meningioma. That's not in the tissue of the brain itself, but inside the cranium, bringing a little pressure to bear on the brain, and in Anne's case, probably affecting the optic nerve.
I see. Now, is this malignant?
No, not necessarily. One hopes not.
It's going to need an operation, isn't it? I mean, this is brain surgery. That's what you're trying to tell me.
Well, not necessarily. I'm sorry, Arthur, to be so indefinite, but until one can get hold of these tumours and examine them, it's very difficult to be more specific.
Yes, but you see, how can it be got rid of unless it's taken away by a surgeon?
I'm coming to that. It is indeed a very difficult and complex operation. But these vascular tumours in the cranium can sometimes be cleared up by X-ray treatment. Now, that takes time. Now, Walford, the specialist, rang me up last night after he'd sent me his report in the post. He is, without doubt, the best brain man in London, and a very old friend of mine. Now, he says that the best people in this delicate field are the Germans.
And?
There's this fellow Edelman, who has a clinic in Freiburg in the Black Forest. He's evidently developed a new form of treatment for these tumours.
No. I'm not having my daughter shipped off to Germany. Have her head operated on by a Hun. No, not on your life.
Arthur, old chap, let me explain a bit. Just bear with me and listen. If we could get her to Freiburg, we'd get a thorough examination, a proper diagnosis, and the best treatment available anywhere in the world.
Well, I think I'll just stick these in my album.
Yes.
If I can find it. And my glue, which ought to be in here. Oh, but it was when I last looked.
Anne, what is it, dear? Have you got a headache again? Is it bad?
It's all right, Nanny. It's just a slight one. It will go away, I'm sure it will.
You're going to your bed, my dear, to lie down and have a wee rest.
There's no need, Nan. I'm perfectly okay. I'm not dying.
Come along, young lady. No, now do as Nanny says, dear. Just for half an hour, with the curtains drawn.
All right. Oh, it's so silly, it really is. No. Damn my rotten head, it's such a bore. I don't want to lie down.
And it's much the best thing with a headache. I always do if possible.
Now, I'll get you an aspirin, dear.
Come in.
Oh, it's Nanny's coat. Shall I bring it in?
Oh, yes, do. Good morning, Jim.
Morning, miss. Shall I put some on the fire?
Oh, I don't think so just at the moment, Jim. Just put the scuttle down there.
All right, miss. Lucky stuff, innit?
Yes, you have got some black on your forehead. Not much, but come here. I'll wipe it off for you. Got a hanky or anything?
Oh, yeah.
Stand still, Jim. There. All gone. Clean as a whistle.
Oh, thanks, Miss Elizabeth.
Well, I expect you've got some other jobs to do. Not that I mean you're not bothering me.
Can you tell me something, miss? Been puzzling me.
What has?
Well, why is this room called a schoolroom when it's Nanny's room?
Oh, I see. Well, it was the nursery when my sisters and I were very small. And it was the nursery years and years ago when my father and my aunt were children. But then when my sisters and I grew up a bit, and our parents thought we were too old for toys, we had to start having lessons. We had our lessons in here with a governess to teach us. That was before we went away to school. So it became known as the schoolroom, and it still is.
Oh, I see. That's where you got that globe, then. Like we used to have at school for geography lessons.
Yes. Did you go to school at Layford?
Oh, that's right. When I was a nipper.
Did you like school or did you hate it?
Well, it was all right. Didn't learn much.
How old were you when you left?
14.
Did you learn to read and write quite well?
You read and write? Well, no.
But you can now.
Well, Not too good. Well, I mean, I like to read. You know, well, nicely. And write, too. But it's not the same. Not after you left school. You don't get much chance. I mean, I'd like to read so I could read to my mum in the evenings, because she don't see too well, my mum don't. She likes a good story. Mind you, she'll listen to the wireless some evenings, but it's not the same. She likes to get read to. Only I can't read her much. Only kiddie stories with simple words I can make out.
Yes, I see.
Yeah, well, I'd better go and help Mr. Gates wash down the commander's motor if there's nothing else.
No, thank you, Jim. There's nothing else.
Well, now, you going to have a glass of sherry before we go?
No, not this morning, Arthur, thank you. I've still got a number of calls to fit in before lunch.
Oh, are you sure?
Quite sure.
Well,
Darling, look, Dr. Cropp has given me a very full report on Anne's condition. I suggest we don't ask him to go all over it again now. I'll explain it to you this evening. I mean, when the girls have gone to bed, we could have a nice quiet chat in the study.
It's nothing to worry about, I do assure you, my dear. Just a case of what's best for Anne. Arthur will explain. Now, I really must run.
see, well, thank you very much. We're very grateful.
All right. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
I've made Anne lie down in her room, Mrs. Bourne.
Oh?
She's got a bit of a headache again. She's had an aspirin, and I've closed her curtains for her.
Well, thank you, Nanny. I'll go straight up.
Go ahead and leave her. She'd probably go to sleep.
It would be best if she did.
All right. What's Liz doing, Nanny? Have you any idea?
Yes, I have. She's up in the nursery, pasting in snaps into her album. Well, I'll go and fetch my tray.
Well, I'd better get my things together, hadn't I, if I'm going to be over at Oxford at 2:30.
Aren't you going to have any lunch?
Oh, no, I'd rather not stop somewhere on the way for a sandwich.
Arthur, I couldn't come with you, could I?
What, to Oxford? Oh, what on earth for?
What? I just feel I'd like to be with you today. Couldn't I?
What would you do all the afternoon? No, I've got to look at milking machines. It's a long way there, you know, long drive back. No, you get very bored and very tired.
I wouldn't mind that, Arthur. Please take me with you. I just feel a little bit lonely and depressed this morning. Please, Arthur.
Darling, I'd rather not. Now, look, I'll tell you what. We get Liz and Anne off to bed early this evening, and then we have a long, undisturbed chat in the study. I mean, there's lots to discuss, but he can read. It's much better to talk this evening.
Yes, I'll just have to try and think of something to do with myself this afternoon, that's all.
Now, come on, Henry. Plenty to do. Come on.
Yes. I'll, probably turn out a cupboard or scrub something.
Yes, that's it. Get Nanny and the girls to help you, eh?
Yes. Well, if you're not going to have any lunch, I'd better go and tell Mrs. Gates that it'll just be the three of us, the girls and me. If Anne feels like any lunch.
Oh, what is it, Dad?
Might I disturb you for a moment, Commander?
Oh, yes, of course you may.
It's just, I'm anxious to know what Dr. Copper has to say about Anne's eyes.
Oh, Nan, I'm sure you are. Now, look, all I can say to you is, don't worry, because there is nothing serious to worry about. Anne may have to have some sort of special treatment, you know, which, well, it might mean one or two changes in family plans, but, you know, you will be told in due course, after I've discussed it with Mrs. Bourne this evening. Now, that, I'm afraid, is really all I can tell you at the moment.
Oh, I see.
Now, meanwhile, I would prefer it very much if you didn't discuss this with Liz, and more especially with Anne. Now, don't you speculate on the Harley Street doctor's report. Just be patient, and then we'll tell you what the plans are tomorrow, right?
Very good, Commander.
Oh, now, while you're here, there is just one thing.
Yes?
Do you happen to remember when Anne first went out to stay with the von Heinigs in Germany? I mean, what year they were?
That was 3 years ago, last April. It was just after Easter, the year Mr. Ashley was so ill.
Oh, well, now, that's splendid, because her passport's still valid.
I beg your pardon?
Oh, never mind, Anne. No, it's under 5 years, so not due for renewal.
Is that so? Yes.
I wonder where that is. Anne's passport?
Oh, I can tell you that, too. She always keeps it safe in her wee dispatch case. You know, the one Lady Bourne gave her last Christmas, beside her photographs and her love letters.
Oh, good. Well, thank you very much.
That's all right. Thank you. Thank you.
Oughtn't you to be leaving soon?
Oh, yes, I must. At once. I'm glad you reminded me.
It's gone 1:15. What sort of time do you think you'll be back?
Oh, about 6, I expect. 1:30, I suppose.
I see. Scarf?
No, thanks.
Well. Goodness, you're being very affectionate all of a sudden.
Am I?
Daddy gone?
Yes, just.
Oh, I didn't know he was going before lunch.
No, neither did I. He'll be back at about 6. Is Anne still asleep?
Yes, I peeped in just now. It's much the best thing for her headache. Mummy, what did old Croppy say?
Oh, nothing very much, darling. Just about some treatment for her. Daddy and I will discuss it when he gets back.
What sort of treatment?
Don't ask me, darling. I'm no medical expert. If I tried to tell you, I'd probably get it wrong and you'd laugh at me. I've decided to spend the afternoon cleaning out my clothes cupboard and the old chest on the landing. Would you like to help?
Do you want me to?
Well, not if you don't want to, but it would be more fun to do it together. We might be able to find something for that winter jumble sale.
Or some loot for Anne and me. Any old hats, scarves, or blouses you don't want?
You never know. Come on, let's go.
That chest on the landing hasn't been turned out since the time we were looking for something to wear for charades. Yes, it stinks of mothballs.
Sure you're over him? Not just telling yourself you are.
No, I promise you. I've got him right out of my system. I expect it was sort of a schoolgirl crush, really.
But you're not a schoolgirl, not since you left St. Mary's 5 years ago.
Nearly 6. Oh, you know what I mean, Anne. A sort of infatuation.
Well, I agree. There's always something rather romantic about doctors. Especially if they're young and you have to undress in front of them.
Oh, Anne, it has nothing to do with undressing. You have a one-track mind.
Sorry.
I didn't mean to snap.
Well, that's all right.
No, you see, Brian happened to appeal to me very much as a person. He was interesting to talk to. I respected him and admired him.
And what else?
That's all, really.
So that's that. End of chapter on Brian Harrington.
Yes, end of chapter.
Right. It's just as well. I don't think you'd have stayed married very long. I say, you are a bore going off to London.
I'm sorry, old Bean, but I've got to get away from here.
Yes, but who am I going to have chats with when you're gone?
Vicky, I suppose. Well, there'll be Nanny.
Thanks.
Oh, they're good company, aren't they? They'll be the fond parents.
Oh, yes. To come home to from hunting, tell them who was out, who fell off, where we found, where we killed, and what the master said. And to regale with vivid descriptions of who was at the local dance, and how much snow there is on the drive.
That is a perfect description of a winter at Larkfield. Exactly what I'm hoping to avoid.
Yes, but I like talking to you. We can talk about things we can't talk to Mummy about. Sort of grown-up things, like young men.
Making love and having babies and not having babies.
Yes, things like that. You're the only person I can talk to about those sort of things. I mean, you can't tell Nanny and Vicky stories like the one Celia Thompson told me about what happened to her brother in the back of a car after a dance at Hurlingham with a girl who'd had too much champagne.
What did happen to Celia Thompson's brother?
Well, do you really want to know?
Yes, I'm dying to.
Well, of course, it's going to cost money. There's a heck of a lot of money, I'm well aware of that. But if it's the only way to get Anne's head and her eyesight right, well, then as far as I'm concerned, she goes out to that clinic in Freiburg as soon as arrangements can be made. And there are no arguments.
Why in heaven's name can't these English doctors put her right? I mean, are they so useless?
They're too damn conservative, that's the trouble. They're terrified of change. New ideas, new cures and techniques. And utterly hopeless at diagnosis. You see, there's no wonder, all these rich people, they're flocking off to these clinics and cure houses in Switzerland and Germany to be put right. Even though Cropper admits, and they are miles ahead. Brain surgery, X-ray treatment.
Well, then why, may I ask, have we wasted money sending the wretched child to that man in Harley Street, only to be told that she has to go all the way to South Germany to be treated?
Because Wolford was honest enough to admit that she stands a better chance under Edelman in Freiburg than anywhere else.
Better chance of what? Living, not dying?
And we must not get hysterical.
I'm not being hysterical. I just can't understand why Wolford can't put Anne right. Dr. Cropper says he's the best brain man in England.
Yes, and that's the point. In England. Now, Cropper is 100% behind Freiburg without reservation.
I'd just like to see the bill Wolford's going to put in just for sending us to someone else.
Yes, and that's not very fair. You see, I mean, he did test Anne's brain pulses with that electric.
Yes, but he still isn't certain what is wrong. The tumour's only suspected. It says so here in the report.
But, Helen, there is no sense in arguing all night. Now, I ask you to accept this situation calmly and sensibly. That Anne needs the best treatment and diagnosis. Why, this is to save her eyesight, for all we know. Now, she's our child, but as far as I'm concerned, if she has to go abroad to be cured, then she goes. And you and I have got to get down to making arrangements, and straight away.
Yes. Yes, I see. It's just been a bit of a shock, that's all. Especially with Christmas. Well, that's going to be ruined now, of course, if Anne has to go over there.
Darling, we can't afford to wait until after Christmas. Now, Wolford did stress that much. Now, this is urgent.
Yes. Well, I shall have to go with her, of course. Naturally, we can't send Nanny.
I would seem so. Well, we just have to manage without you as best we can.
Well, Liz is old enough now, with Nanny and Mrs. Gates, to see to things, I suppose.
By Jove, yes. Got to run the house.
Yes. Take my place. Act as hostess if you happen to invite anybody over. Well, Father will come up for Christmas if you want him to.
Oh, we'd love to have it. Might be a tower of strength, He'd keep my aged peacock.
Yes, Alice will have to be informed, of course.
Oh, at the right moment. Probably not on the telephone, by letter. I'll write to her on Sunday.
Oh, how are we going to break it to the girls? What am I to tell them?
Oh, darling, let's sleep on it, shall we? Now, it's time to go up. Getting late.
I shan't sleep.
Then you will have to try, my girl. Now, we'll tell Liz and Anne in the morning. And Nanny.
Yes, and write to Vicky, I suppose.
No. Wait till she comes home. Oh, that'll be soon enough. Oh, what a situation, huh? No sooner does Vicky come back from Germany, and you and Anne go off to the same damn place. You practically wave to each other as your boats pass in the North Sea.
Yes, of course, Vicky's coming back next week. I'd almost forgotten. She arrives at Liverpool Street on Tuesday, so we couldn't have written anyway. By the way, where is Freiburg?
Baden, Black Forest. Lovely scenery.
I don't suppose Anne and I will see anything but long white corridors and sick people.
Well, I dare say you'll look out of the window occasionally. Go for walks in the grounds.
I have to start thinking about some warm things for Anne and for myself. It snows a lot in South Germany. That much I do know. How long do you think she'll have to be out there?
Well, it depends on the diagnosis. Well, see, Cropper did say that if it was one of these tumours, it might need X-ray treatment, and well, that could mean as much as 3 months.
Will you be able to manage?
We shall do our best.
Germany? Gosh, when? Where? Oh, anywhere near Munich? If so, I'll be able to go and see the von Heinigs, won't I? And tell Klaus all about Vicky.
I'm afraid it's miles away from Munich, darling. It's actually in the Black Forest. And it is a clinic. You'll be having medical treatment every day, you see, so I don't imagine there'll be very much time for excursions. Not to begin with, anyway.
No, I suppose not. I expect the German doctors will want to keep you very quiet.
But still, later on, if all goes well, they may let you out for a short trip, and then perhaps later visit the von Einigs and see something of the country roundabouts.
Oh, Mummy, be honest with me. What are they going to do? Cut my head open or something? They are, aren't they?
Not necessarily, darling. They may just want to x-ray it. Well, we don't know.
Yes, well, how can they know till they've examined you?
Well, that's right, Tilly. You just have to wait and see and be a brave wee lass.
There goes the whole season's hunting up the spout. What's one season?
You'll be back again hunting next year.
With only half my head?
Hannah, that's idiotic. Now, don't talk such nonsense. Darling, I'm sorry. I shouldn't snap at you. It's all very upsetting.
Oh, that's all right, Mummy. It's just suddenly unhappy thinking about Tallulah. Perhaps Vicky could exercise her.
Yes, why not?
Well, she's not too keen on riding, and Tallulah's a bit strong for her. Strong? She'd bolt across Herefordshire with Vicky on her. Honestly, I can't hold her on a curb. She'd gallop halfway to London. Oh, honestly, Liz, she wouldn't. She's as good as gold. Gosh, I can see Vic hanging on, clattering down the road. I wonder if Jim can ride.
Jim Tapper?
Jim? Good Lord, yes. Heaven's sakes, I thought you knew all about Jim. No, he's a national hunt jockey, you know. Used to ride for Dorothy Paget. Good. Won the Grand National 3 times, Cheltenham Gold Cup twice.
Oh, Daddy, really? You really are absurd.
No, that's why we engaged him. It wasn't to bring up Nanny's coal or the old gates around the house. No, it was so he could ride Tallulah round around Larkfield and Aintree and Newbury. And so she'll be so thin she won't need any exercise for 3 years, and by that time, well, Anne will have her head back from the Hun doctors and...
Daddy, don't talk.
There, darling. There, there's nothing to worry about. They'll soon get your head right out there, won't they, Daddy?
Yes, absolutely. Now, darling, we may have fought against them in the war. But when it comes to heads, well, the Germans are probably the best doctors in Europe. And probably in the world. They really are, those Germans.
Daddy's right.
They told me that up at Oxford, about surgeons like Hartzmann, Wiedler and Professor Stotz.
You and I will have our Christmas out there together, won't we, darling? I hear they make an awful lot of Christmas out there, even more than we do.
Yes. Weihnacht and Sylvester. What on earth is Sylvester? New Year. Oh, I shall have to brush up on my German. I've almost forgotten everything I learnt in Munich. Perhaps I'll be able to practice with Vicky when she gets home.
Yes, you certainly will, I think. Because, you know, with your mother's half-dozen schoolbook words, she'll have to act as interpreter, won't you, Mummy?
That's right.
There you are. Jawohl.
So, what with one thing and another, I'm feeling somewhat depressed.
Oh, please don't, Father. I was relying on you to cheer us all up.
I shall do my best.
Ah, so you've arrived, Charles.
Hello, Arthur.
A reasonable journey?
Yes, most comfortable, thank you.
Good work. Train on time?
To the minute, as punctual as one of Mussolini's.
It was kind of you to meet Vicky.
Oh, no.
Oh, good heavens, I don't know. Where is she?
She rushed upstairs to see Nanny.
You know, she insisted on my giving her tea on the train, and she ate her way solidly right through the not inconsiderable fare provided by the Great Western Railway. I suppose she was hungry after the crossing.
The sheer waste of half a crown.
No.
Did you have tea too, Father?
No, devoted as I am to Vicky, I couldn't face that spread.
So you'd have a cake now?
Please. There is something about Mrs. Gates's cakes that excuses gluttony. Thank you.
Did you tell Vicky about Anne?
Yes, I did, and it wasn't a very easy job, you know, because you pointed out in your letter not to alarm her unduly, at the same time to make it clear that you and Anne had to leave almost at once.
Yes, I'm very sorry. You know, we had to push it on to you.
No.
You see, there simply wasn't time to write to Vicky in Germany, and, well, Helen felt that you'd softened the blow.
Was she upset?
Well, oddly enough, not greatly. I think she took the view that Anne'd be all right because she'd always been the strongest of the three.
That's what Nanny says.
But she was upset about you going. Christmas won't be Christmas without Mummy. That's what she said.
I thought she seemed a little bit cold just now, poor darling. If only Anne's treatment could have waited till the new year.
Yes, you see, actually, we did telephone Edelman, but he's absolutely adamant. I mean, Anne has got to be out there as soon as the bed is free. And that's 3 days' time.
Yeah.
Let's talk about other things.
Daddy!
Hello, darling.
Lovely to see you.
There you are, Arthur. You
Angel cake. Can I have a bit?
I thought you'd already had tea.
Oh, that was an hour ago.
What it is to be 18.
Yes, I'm grown up now.
Finished is, I believe, the correct expression. Always seemed to me a singularly inept one.
I thought you were the one that was finished, Grandpa.
Yeah.
Really, darling?
Yes, now, really, what do you mean?
Didn't you know that Grandpa's given up his house at Eton? He's finished being a housemaster.
Yes, we all knew that.
Well, he's going to go on teaching, I mean, won't you, Charles?
Oh, yes, of course I will. Still, it won't be the same, you know. I shall miss my boys, with the possible exception of Preston Minor. But my little house at Datchet is really very comfortable.
How are you finding that new housekeeper?
Very satisfactory. She's a sensible woman. No, I'm sure I shall settle down.
I'm sure you will. Well, Miss Victoria, now, how does it feel to be grown up, huh?
Not awfully different. Granny said in one of her letters that I'm going to court this summer. Am I?
Yes, of course you are, darling.
I'll feel a perfect idiot in those feathers and trains and things all dressed up.
Nonsense. The other two thoroughly enjoyed being presented, and so will you.
Who's going to present me, Daddy?
I will, of course, darling.
Oh, I thought you were going away.
Yes, but not for so
Where
long.
is Nan, Daddy?
Back.
Well, now, that is a problem I was just trying to solve myself,
Actually,
Dr.
they're in
Watts.
Horbury finishing off their Christmas shopping.
You see, I thought I heard a car, you see, so perhaps it's there.
I don't suppose we're going to have a tree this year.
Oh, no, come on, Vicky, now, don't talk nonsense. Now, Gates is going to bring that tree in on the 23rd, and you and Liz will decorate it.
We won't be the same, Dad.
Oh, no, come along.
Hello, Fräulein. Big Gates. Hello, Lizzie. You have been busy. Can I look? Yes, of course. In a minute.
You must be ready for tea.
Oh, we are. Positively dying for a dish of tea. Hello, Grandpa, darling.
Hello, Anne, my dear.
Grandpa?
Hello, Liz. Oh, it is good to see you again.
Here you are, Liz, darling.
Oh, thank you.
Well,
Anne, your tea. Your tea, Anne.
Oh, sorry, Mummy.
I'll come along this way now.
Yes, Lord.
Oh, I am sorry, Mummy. I saw 2 cups and took the wrong one.
Don't worry a bit, darling. That's all right. There we are. There's another cup
Let's
here.
put it down there.
There we are, Elga.
Hey there, no peeping.
I say, who's this for? It's a most peculiar shape.
Oh, I'll show you later, Vicky. We'll go upstairs after dinner and do them all up. Have you got plenty of wrapping paper, Mummy?
Yes, Max is in the schoolroom cupboard.
Now, Granny slippers, and that's the lot.
You must get Gates to find a box for yours and Mummy's to take with you. Yes, why did I think of us having Christmas all on our own? I expect you'll be invited to lots of parties out there. After all, the Germans practically invented Christmas. Yes, but... What?
But I'll be having my treatment every day.
This'll be the first Christmas we haven't all been together.
Oh, I suppose it had to come sooner or later. I mean, we're bound to drift apart from each other as we grow older.
Yes, bound to, I'm afraid. But at Christmas time, you are a bore getting ill, Anne.
Aren't I? All the same, I hope you've made it up with Mummy, Vic. You were pretty stuffy with her at tea time.
I expect she'll come and say goodnight to me.
After all, it isn't her fault. I think it's angelic of her to come to Freiburg with me.
So do I, really.
She must feel torn in half.
Do you think we'll still spend Christmas together after we're married?
I doubt it.
Why? Don't you think our husbands will like each other?
Probably not. Well, at Christmas time, they'll just have to put up with it. Or remember Michael Sherwood and how he never had anything to say to your doctor, Liz. Supposing I fall in love with a beautiful blonde doctor at the clinic. Sort of German Brian Harrington.
Like Klaus, but even better.
Oh, for God's sake, don't.
Hello.
Oh, hello, Nanny. We're just doing up our presents.
Oh, good. Oh, and you're tidying up too, clever girls. Well, I'll take that box away if you've finished.
Yes, we have.
Yes. In that case, Anne, could I have a minute or two with you? I'd like to know what woolies you want to take with you.
All right, Nanny, I'll come now. And then I suppose we'd better go and join the grown-ups.
If you ask me, I think Nanny's been crying.
Yes, very likely.
Is Anne dreadfully ill, Liz?
Well, it's all a bit nerve-wracking.
But I'm sure she'll be all right. You mustn't worry. I don't see why not. Everybody else is, though they're all pretending not to be.
That's true.
I wish someone had told me before.
Well, how could we? It all happened so suddenly.
Yes, I suppose so. Poor old Anne. Though I must say, she doesn't seem a bit sorry for herself.
Not a word to her.
Of course not. That needle will be ruined.
Come on, you two. Daddy's shouting for us to go down and be social.
Yes, we'd better. I'll go. You follow. Oh, Anne.
Oh, poor Vic. She isn't as grown up as she thinks. It's a bit of a shock for her, you going away. You'll have to be mother. See she has fun.
Yes, I will.
There are a lot of parties coming up. It's a bit hard on you, though, isn't it? Hard? What do you mean? Well, after waiting all this year to walk the wards or whatever it is.
Well, I can wait a bit longer. Well, someone's got to run the house while Mum is away, and I'm the obvious person.
Yes, I suppose you are. Oh, I am sorry, Liz. It's all my fault.
Don't be an idiot.
In a way, I wish you were coming with me instead, and so do I.
I didn't like to suggest it.
Nor did I.
Come on, we'd better go down.
Come along.
Just coming, Daddy.
Now then, Vicky, close your eyes. All right.
Yum, what beauties. Where did they come from?
From Fuller's on Windsor Hill.
From your grandfather who spoils you all.
It's a good thing I didn't know you had them with you on the train.
Oh, dear. Look, I'll take that in the study. Probably Frank Chapman. You know, one of the Jerseys has got a bit of a cough. He's a bit concerned about her.
Good heavens, look at all those presents.
Where should we put them all till the tree comes in?
Oh, the old chest by the front door, I suppose, if there's enough room.
Okay, Liz, can you take these? Yes.
Ooh.
Ooh, Vicky, where'd you get those?
Grandpa.
May I have one?
Well, of course. They're for you all.
Oh, Tutu. Why on earth not? Bunting isn't part of my treatment. At least, I don't think it is it?
I shouldn't think so.
Anyway, my treatment hasn't started yet, whatever it is.
Was it Frank?
No. No, it was Rosie Cartland. No, they've asked the rest of us over to dinner the day you leave, which is very kind, because we'll need cheering up.
Very kind.
Who are the Cartlands?
Oh, they bought Layford Park.
Isn't it amusing? She's a great friend of Arthur's.
Oh, hardly a great friend, huh? No, I met her when I was out in Hong Kong in 23, Charles. No, Father was CNC China Station. Oh, he's a member of the Board of Admiralty now.
Well, well, well. It is, as they say, a small world. Now, what time exactly do you and Anne leave?
We go the day after tomorrow. We'll spend the night with Aunt Phyllis. Hotels in London are so expensive.
Yes, and you're going to see Alice on the way through?
Yes. We'll go to her flat and say goodbye, and then in the morning we take the boat train from Liverpool Street for Harwich and the Hook of Holland.
That old journey. I've done it 3 times in a year.
Seasoned old traveller. Arthur, you going up to see them off?
Oh, I've asked him not to. We don't want any fuss, do we, Anne?
No, but I'd like Daddy to come and see us off on the boat train.
I shall. I'm sorry, my love, but I've every intention of seeing you off. It's bad enough to have you going at all, just before Christmas.
What about this dinner party, then?
Well, even if I should miss the express down, my Gates can drive the others over to Layford. It's much more important to me to see that you get away in comfort.
Thank you, darling. Anne, what's the matter?
Oh, it's not my head or anything, I'm sorry. It's just I suddenly feel so awful about Tallulah. Oh, she's going to have such a rotten time, poor darling.
Oh, my dear, now don't worry, because we'll look after her.
Oh, it's very sweet of you, Daddy, but who's going to make a fuss of her and talk to her? She likes an apple every morning.
I'll do that. You can write her letters and I'll read them to her.
Well, you're all very kind. Why did I have to be the only horsey one in this family?
What about bed now, darling? Dr. Cropper says you mustn't get overtired.
All right.
You too, Vicky. You've had a long day.
Must I, Mummy?
Yes, you must. Bossy.
Good night, Grandpa. Good night,
Good night, Anne.
Good night, Nick.
Good night.
Poor child. She really is very worried about exercising that horse.
It's not surprising. Tallulah's used to being hunted all winter. It's a bit of a problem.
Look, would you talk to your grandfather just for a moment while I'll just go and make a telephone call.
And what could be nicer?
Grandpa, would you like a nightcap?
I wouldn't say no.
I expect it's a bit sad for you being retired.
Semi-retired. I still teach Latin and history.
Did you have a great farewell party?
Yes, it was rather jolly. The dame organised a supper party and a sing-song. But I shall miss my large family. But still, my little house is really rather nice. And there is a spare room, if you can ever get away for a few days.
Oh, thank you, Grandpa. But I think I'll be stuck here fairly solidly for the next few months.
Yes, I expect you will. I think your parents are very lucky to have you.
I'm not so sure they are. I'm not really a very domestic sort of person. I shall have to rely very heavily on Nanny and Mrs. Gates.
Well, not very domesticated, perhaps. But you know about the medical side. Now, Liz, what's your opinion? Is it very serious?
Well, it could be. But this particular doctor they're going to has found some revolutionary new treatment for brain tumours. I went to the hospital library and read an article about him in the Lancet. He's had some quite remarkable results, apparently.
Good, good.
If Mummy talks to you, and she's much more likely to talk to you than any of us, do reassure her. I know she's worried stiff, but she won't say so. Do you know where Mummy is?
Oh, yes, she's gone round to say goodbye to Mrs. Chapman.
Well, I thought I'd take Anne and Vicky into Horbury. We could have lunch at the Copper Kettle and then go to the cinema. There's a marvellous film on, The Merry Widow with Maurice Chevalier, and Anne adores him. I thought it might take her mind off tomorrow.
Oh, what a good idea.
Oh, well, tell Mummy, will you? I'm sure she won't mind.
Yes, I will. Liz, I don't like it, Liz, taking that child away out of the country. I'm anxious about her.
Nanny, aren't we all? But you mustn't let her know. You must all jolly her along. And where is she?
Oh, she went for a wee ride.
She shouldn't have done that.
She knew, but she promised it would just be a quiet wee trot along the drive. She said she had to explain to Tallulah. Oh, when Anne talks about that horse, you think it could speak.
Well, she probably does to Anne.
Nonsense you talk, Liz.
I expect they're having a good chat now.
Oh, blethers.
At least I've made you smile. Keep it up until they've gone tomorrow, and then we can all have a good howl if we want. It'll probably do us good. Well, I must go and finish off a letter before Anne gets back. Come on, old girl, let's have your bridle now. This tuck needs cleaning. Oh, that was a dull ride, wasn't it, old girl? I'm sorry. Oh, what is it, Tallulah? Oh, your apple, you greedy old thing. Come on, then. Oh, they promised to look after you. So mind you behave yourself, you little devil. Come on, Tallulah. Give us a kiss. Oh, Tallulah.
Grande, that's what it is. Good.
What is?
French miser, Balzac's Grande. I finished.
So I suppose you're right.
I know I am. I say, Arthur's a bit late. Is he sitting on the bench or something?
No. Should be back soon. He's gone to see somebody from the Forestry Commission. He intended to go tomorrow, but he altered it so that he could come up to London with Anne and me.
Oh, quite right, too.
Yes, I suppose so. I didn't want to have any fuss, though.
Well, Anne seems to like the idea, and that's what matters most.
Yes, you're right. Yes, it is. It was a good idea of Liz to take them out to lunch, wasn't it?
Yes. You know, Liz has grown up a lot, hasn't she?
Mm-hmm. You know, she gave that Dr. Harrington the cold shoulder.
Yes. Well, I suppose she was right.
I never found him at all easy to talk to. I know Arthur's very relieved.
Oh. Well,
hello? Yes, it is. Oh, hello, Mrs. Cartland. No, I'm afraid he's out. Can I take a message? Yes, why don't you do that? Goodbye. What can she want, I wonder?
I don't think that you altogether trust that lady.
Perhaps it's silly, but I don't.
But you trust Arthur?
Absolutely.
Good. Well, when exactly do you leave tomorrow?
Well, we're catching the 9:15 train, so we ought to leave the house at about 8:30. We'll have to be up good and early.
Yeah.
That you, Irene?
No, it's me.
Oh, thought it was Mrs. Gates.
No, I've just been saying goodbye to Mrs. Gates. Here, let me help you with that.
Now be careful.
There's nothing wrong with my muscles, you old silly.
You might tell your mummy I'll no be coming down to see you off.
Very sensible.
Now you'll be good to yourself and take care of yourself.
Of course I will.
And none of your riding or any of that nonsense.
No hope of that, I'm afraid.
See, stand still, your collar's squint. And you need a brush.
I'll write to you.
Well, I would hope so. Well, on with you now, then. Where you going now? Come on.
Vicky, has Gates taken everything out to the car?
All except the small things. Liz is going to bring those in her car.
Are you both coming to see yourself?
Yes, Sam wants us to.
Tickets, passports, currency.
Thank you.
Oh, Vicky, now do stop that strumming, dear. Take these out. Well, now, you ready, Liz?
Yes.
Right, now, where's Anne?
So she's saying goodbye to Nanny.
Hurry up, Anne, darling.
Oh, damn. Now, who can that be?
Not too long, we'll be late.
Right. Hello? Oh, hello, Rosie. Oh, good day to you. Yeah. Yes, of course, I see.
Goodbye, Grandpa, darling.
Dear Anne.
Could you take care of this for me? I don't want to worry the others.
Well, what is it?
My will. Just in case.
My dearest Anne.
Goodbye, Grandpa, darling. Write to me.
Of course I will.
Well, now, you're sure about that? Yeah, yes, of course. Well, yes, I'll tell her. I simply can't take your enough, Rosie. Well, now, look, we must dash catch this train, so I will telephone you from London this evening, or, well, all right, will. All right, goodbye.
What does she want?
She has offered to have Anne's mare over at Layford for the season. Oh, there's plenty of room, goodness knows. Now, if you agree, Rosie will hunt her. I take it you approve?
Oh, approve, of course I do. I think it's a wonderful idea. Well, Gates says they've got a marvellous new head groom. Isn't Mrs. Cartland a kind person, Mummy?
Very kind, darling.
Well, now, come along, my dear, we'll miss the train. Well, now, Liz, will you go ahead in your car? We'll follow. And no speeding.
Helen, my dear. I expected you earlier.
I know, I'm sorry. But Anne needed a rest after her train journey.
I fell asleep on Aunt Phil's sofa. Have you ever heard of anything more idiotic?
Very sensible. You've got a long day tomorrow. Now, come on, let me have a look at you. What a pretty creature you are, isn't she, Helen? And where's Arthur?
Oh, he went to his tailor's. It seemed a good opportunity. He'll be picking us up later.
He came up especially to see us off on the boat train tomorrow.
So I should hope. Now, before Kate brings in the tea, I've got something to show you, Anne. There.
Oh, Granny. Oh, you showed them to us once before. May I look?
More than look, you can choose something for yourself.
To keep?
Well, nothing from the top tray. They're not quite suitable for a young girl, but anything else.
Oh, this is the one.
Oh.
Oh, it's all right, Granny. I'm not going to choose it. Oh, it's lovely, but wildly wrong. But isn't this the necklace you told us that story about?
Yes, it is.
Have you heard it, Mummy?
Well, tell your mother, Anne, if you remember it.
Of course I do. Once upon a time, one summer, years and years and years ago...
Oh, don't exaggerate, child. It was in 1895.
Well, that's what I mean, Granny. Years ago. There was a grand ball at the Hebrews for the eldest son's coming of age, and Granny dressed up in all her finery and wore this. Oh, you must have looked lovely.
Your grandfather thought so.
When they came home, it was quite late, for they danced the night through, and it was nearly light. Well, Granny had told her maid not to wait up, and Grandfather came in and undid her dress. Well, she was so tired that she dropped the necklace on the dressing table and left it there. And in the morning, imagine, it wasn't there. It had completely disappeared. Oh, there was a fuss, wasn't there?
There was indeed. Of course, we didn't suspect any of the servants. They were all old friends. But I'm afraid the insurance assessors weren't quite so trusting. Oh, it was dreadfully awkward. I couldn't look Hewitt in the eye for days. Do you remember Hewitt, our butler?
Yes, indeed.
Oh, my dear. And then I remembered Joey.
Grandfather's tame jackdaw. Oh, he was a terrible thief, of course, and as it was such a hot night, they'd left the windows wide open. So they searched and searched in all the most likely places.
And unlikely ones, too.
But they never found it. So the insurance paid up, and the necklace was replaced.
What a fascinating story.
Ah, but that's not the end of it. You see, years later, Grandfather decided to make the little room by the back door into a new gun room. The workmen discovered a blocked-up chimney, and when they opened it up, down came all sorts of rubbish, and among it was, guess what? A filthy, soot-covered diamond and ruby necklace. So it was Joey the Jackdaw after all.
Yes, how your grandfather laughed. He was devoted to that wicked bird. Now, Anne, take this into my bedroom and decide what you want. And you'll find some furs. Choose what you want out of them. And you can wear them at the party we'll all give for you when you come back.
Well, you are kind, Granny.
No, darling. Surely you must have heard that story about the necklace before.
Oh, yes, dozens of times. Oh, I hope it wasn't too obvious. I didn't want to spoil Anne's pleasure in telling it. It took her mind off things. She's been brooding a bit since we came up this morning. I'm rather worried about tomorrow.
Just how bad is she, Helen?
Well, we won't really know till Dr. Edelman has examined her.
And this, Dr. Edelman, I imagine it'll be expensive.
Ruinous, I should think.
That's why I was glad Arthur didn't come with you, and why I sent Anne to my bedroom. I want to have a word with you in private, to let you know that I have every intention of paying for this cure myself.
Oh, but, my dear, Arthur would never hear...
Arthur need know nothing about it. As far as he's concerned, you'll be paying.
But
you can tell him you've made a little money on the stock exchange.
Alice, ought you to?
Of course I ought. What are grandmothers for?
Well, it would be an immense relief. We were worried about the money side. If the clinic is very expensive, we will have difficulty in giving Vicky her season. It would be marvellous.
Well, that's settled then. Now, as soon as you know how much it's all going to cost, you must write and tell me, and I'll get my nice stockbroker to send you a cheque. The result of a coup. We let him into the secret, but not Arthur. Not a word to Arthur.
Not a word.
Can I come in?
Of course, darling.
Oh, I'd love this brooch if it's all right, Granny.
I said anything you wanted.
And this jacket's absolutely dreamy for wearing at dances. Do I look nice, Mummy?
You look beautiful, darling. You are a lucky girl to have such a generous grandmother. Oh, that must be Arthur now.
Oh, run and tell Kate to bring the tea, darling, and see if she can find a box for that coat. When you're better, you may well be asked to parties out there.
Oh, may I keep the brooch on now?
But of course, it's yours now.
Oh, hello, Daddy. Oh, look what Granny's given me. What do you think?
My dear, I think it's perfectly charming.
Arthur, dear?
Hello, Mother. Where's Anne up to?
Just gone to tell Kate we're ready for tea.
Now, how's she been?
Oh, she's cheered up a lot since we arrived. Your mother's been absolutely wonderful.
Now, don't let her see that you're worried.
Oh, Mother, we don't, do we? Well, now then, Mother, which day are you coming down to Larkfield for Christmas?
Well, may I leave it till the 22nd? I didn't feel very well last week. Oh, don't worry, I'm perfectly all right again now. I just thought I'd like a few days' rest.
All right, well, you ring me up, tell me what trade.
I will.
Oh, I do hope you'll be able to go. The girls would hate to have Christmas without you.
Yes, no, Charles needs someone to beat at backgammon.
Or be beaten by, more likely. Has he arrived yet?
2 days ago. He's a bit down in the dumps, poor love, after giving up his house at Eton. But, oh, he's being very good about it.
Yes, I'm afraid he's starting a cold, too.
In that case, I certainly shan't come till the 22nd.
Oh, I've brought you a cup of my special beef tea, Mr. Ashley.
Oh, thank you, Nanny. How kind.
I hope you've got the better of that cold of yours.
Oh, yes, I think so, yes, I think it's almost gone.
Oh, yes. But it wouldn't have been wise to go over for dinner too late for tonight, not on a cold night like this.
No, I suppose not. I'm sure you're right. All the same, I'm rather sorry not to see it, you know. I believe it had got awfully shabby over the years, and now these new people have done wonders.
6 new bathrooms. Central heating in every room in the house, even in the servants' hall. So they tell me.
Well, you have an admirable intelligence service.
Away, Mr. Ashley. Keep thinking about Anne and that long, long journey today. And what an expense it's going to be, too. Still, as long as Anne's going to get better, it'll be worthwhile.
Yes, indeed.
Well, I better get on upstairs.
Ah.
Now, don't you stay up too late with that cold of yours.
No, I think I'll stay up a little. They shouldn't be long.
Well, if they're not, would you ask the girls to look in and see me? I'm dying to hear all about it.
Yes, I will, Nanny.
Well, drink up your beef tea, Mr. Ashley.
Oh.
It'll do you a world of good.
Yes.
That's right. Do you think Mrs. Bourne will send a telegram tomorrow to tell us they've arrived safely?
Yes, Nanny, I'm sure she will.
Well, that'll be a relief.
Yes.
Heavens, Grandpa, what on earth are you doing?
Well,
I can guess. It's one of Nanny's nightcaps.
No, don't give me away. Before I forget, she wants you to look in and see her.
Poor old
I think
Nan.
she wants a bit of a gossip.
I think she's been worrying more than any of us. Anne was always her favourite.
Oh, hello, Charles. Are you still up?
Yes.
How's the cold?
I think I've scotched it.
Would you like a Scotch nightcap?
He's had one from Nanny.
Shut up, Vic.
Thank you, Arthur. Well, have a pleasant evening.
Very pleasant indeed. Here. It is quite remarkable to see what they've done to that old place.
I liked it better as it was before. It's so shiny now, like a hotel.
Can I have some barley water, Daddy?
Yes, please do. Help yourself.
Oh, Mrs. Gates brought in some sandwiches in case you were hungry.
Oh, no, thanks very much. We had an immense dinner.
I'll have one all the same, then we must go and see Nanny.
You'll have to watch your figure, my girl.
Musicians never get fat. They use up too much nervous energy.
Night, Daddy. Night, Grandpa.
Bye, night.
Good night. Sleep well.
When will we hear anything?
Well, Mummy said that she would cable as soon as they reached the clinic.
Good. They'll be tucked up in their sleepers now.
Yes, it is a long journey, isn't it? I do hope she's all right.
I'm sure she is.
Arthur, I'm afraid Anne isn't all right. Helen telephoned from Rotterdam.
My God, what happened?
Well, apparently she had a blinding headache on the boat and was really quite ill. And Helen decided that they'd better spend the night at a hotel in Rotterdam. She wants you to telephone her.
I'll book a call at once.
Yeah.
Did they give you a number?
I'd written it down on the pad.
Was heaven. They've got an absolutely marvellous cook.
And what about Mr. Cartland's son?
Oh, he's rather a dream, isn't he, Liz?
Oh, he's good-looking enough. I thought he was a bit conceited.
He wasn't.
Wasn't he? Nanny, do you remember that friend of Anne's, Michael Sherwood?
Oh, yes, I remember that. That Catholic boy that came and stayed once or twice.
Yes, well, he's a friend of Peter Cartland's, too. Oh. They're in the Auxiliary Air Force together.
Huh?
Much of a muchness, I'd say.
You were never all that much taken with that young Sherwood boy, were you, Liz?
No, I wasn't. I'm not mad about empty-headed young men who think they're God's gift just because they can fly an aeroplane.
Don't talk nonsense. It's not empty-headed, not in the least bit. Imagine it, Nanny. Instead of going to Oxford or Cambridge, he went to Bonn University.
Oh, where might that be?
In Germany, of course. And we talked German together at dinner for a bit. Great fun. Mm-hmm. And he's very musical, too.
Oh, is that a fact? Does he play in a band?
Oh, Nanny, he plays the market more likely. Oh. He's doing rather well on the stock exchange. Come to think of it, he's the sort of maddening young man who'd do well at anything he tried.
Anyway, he was very kind about Tallulah letting us go and see her.
That was his father's idea. We went out to the stables before dinner. She seems to have settled down quite well.
Good.
They make our stables look very tumble down.
Mm. Yes, they do a bit. Did you see Tallulah go off this afternoon? We didn't get back from the Hamiltons in time.
Mm-hmm. I took her out an apple. I knew Anne would like me to. Oh, you never saw such a smart horse box. And the head groom himself came over with it. But I'll tell you something, my dear, and you mustn't repeat it.
Promise.
Gates is none too pleased about this arrangement. You should have seen his face when they drove off. And at tea time in the kitchen, he would hardly speak.
But he's always saying he has too much to do. So that's why Daddy got Jim Tapper to help. And now he'll have even less, so why is he grumbling?
That is human nature, Vicky. I think I'm going to go to bed. I didn't sleep very well last night.
Oh, neither did I.
Night-night.
Funny thing, nothing ever seems to stop me from sleeping.
Oh, there we are.
Oh, well, that was quick.
Yes, they put me through, exactly 22 minutes. That's, well, I suppose there's not much traffic late at night.
Well, how did Helen sound?
Much more cheerful, thank goodness. Yes, they're at the Vanderborn Hotel in Rotterdam, you know. Helen really is extremely sensible. She rang up Edelman, you know. He told her to get on to the local doctor who came in, gave Anne an injection, and now she's sleeping quietly. Yes, if she's all right tomorrow, they're going to travel on by day. I think much better than rattling across Germany in a sleeper. You know?
Oh, certainly.
But you know, Charles, if she's not all right tomorrow, then I'll go out there myself. And that's Christmas or no Christmas.
Well, you must just try not to worry too much, old chap.
You see, anyone but a fool would worry.
Oh, yes, of course. As if there isn't enough to worry about with the state the world's in. I mean, this Abyssinian business, you know, it looks dangerous.
Yes, I'm afraid so. Yes, oddly enough, Harold Nicholson was holding forth about that in White's lunchtime yesterday.
I believe he made an excellent maiden speech in the House after Hall's resignation.
He said Hall completely let us down, you know, and it was only public opinion made Baldwin repudiate the Hall of Valpac.
Well, he may be right. But with the Italians pouring into Abyssinia, what are we supposed to do? I mean, go to war to defend a primitive African state where slavery is still rife?
Oh, God forbid.
And run the risk of losing Italy as a potential ally, drive Mussolini into the arms of Hitler?
Well, that is the chance we'd have to take, isn't it? If only the French would back us up on sanctions. Well, if we mobilise the fleet, I mean, even as a gesture?
Can you see that happening?
No, I can't. But on the other hand, do you want the Italian fleet to take over the Mediterranean?
Well, if it did happen, I suppose it would affect you, Arthur. I mean, being in the Naval Reserve.
No, Chuck. I'm too old, I'm afraid, now for active service. Probably get some boring desk job.
Oh, well, let's just pray that it won't happen. But I have a premonition of an imminent upheaval in Europe.
And you're not the only one. Oh, damn Mussolini.
Yes, damn him indeed, and damn Hitler too. But you know, I have a feeling that the real threat is these Bolsheviks. Did you see those terrifying pictures of the last May Day parade in Moscow and that vast air armada?
All those chaps raining down from the skies on parachutes. See, what do the so-called democracies do about it? When America reverts to isolationism, the French, well, they go to ground the Maginot Line. And us? Well, we reduce the service estimates, sign peace pledges.
We still have the Navy.
At the moment, Charles. See, how many new ships are being laid down? Oh, I'm sorry. Time we went to bed, you know, I kept you up far too late.
Nonsense. This has done my cold all the good in the world. No, Arthur. I rather prefer your whiskey to Nanny's beef tea.
What did Dr. Edelman say, Mummy?
Oh, nothing very much, darling. He was very charming.
What is he like?
Well, you'll see in a minute. He said he'd be here at 11. I wish I could chatter away in German like you and Vicky. I feel quite out of things.
Well, he speaks English, doesn't he?
Oh, yes, his English is very good.
So don't fuss, Mummy. I'm sure they all speak perfect English.
Also, Frau Bourne, nun treffen wir uns nochmal. Und dies ist Ihre Tochter.
Guten Tag, Herr Doktor. Meine Mutter spricht kein Deutsch.
Of course, forgive me. We will speak in English. Bitte. Ja? Is good. You are feeling well relaxed, Anne, yeah?
Yes.
Your daughter had a good night.
Oh, yes, I think she did.
So, today we can begin. At 1 o'clock, I shall examine the patient and make some tests. Do not alarm yourself, Anne. They will not be too uncomfortable. And now I shall leave you, as Sister has some preparations to make. Mrs. Bourne, perhaps we can have a word together outside?
Ist das Ihr Pferd?
Ja.
Wie heißt es?
Tallulah. Tallulah Bankhead ist eine amerikanische Schauspielerin.
Ach so, Tallulah. Das ist sehr komisch. And now, please, sit forward, Anne.
What?
For the test, we must cut your hair short.
Oh, no.
It is quite necessary. First we cut, then we shave. But it will grow again. So. Now, please, sit very still.
Last year I wasn't home in time to do the tree.
This year you'll have to do most of it. I've got to go in a minute.
No, Grandpa, not like that.
What?
You put the bobble on the end of the branch, like this.
I'm sorry, Vicky. Perhaps I'd better stop.
No, or it'll never get done.
Why can't you stand helpless, dear?
I've got to go over to Hereford for a farmer's luncheon with Pa. You know, standing in for Mummy. I was even supposed to make a speech, and I begged off that.
Well, that's a pity, because I think you'd have done it pretty well.
Flatterer. I'm a rotten speaker. When I was up at LMH, I was always hopeless at debates.
And where you go and get dressed, Liz? If you're keeping your father waiting, he said to be ready by 12 o'clock. I've laid all your things out for you.
I'll have to leave it to you. What are you wearing? Oh, something new.
What have you got there, Nanny? The fairy for the Christmas tree. The girls had left it up in the attic.
The fairy? Oh, that has to go on last. Let me have a look at it, Granny. Oh, she looks a bit battered.
Well, I made her a new dress only 2 years ago.
Her face, I mean, and she's lost most of her hair.
Well, it's not surprising. I've known that fairy for years.
Her face won't notice right up at the top.
She's only a year younger than you are, Vicky. I remember the year Mrs. Bourne bought her. It was your first Christmas.
And how you loved it. I remember how you clapped your fat little hands at the candles.
Granny. I think we'd better put the snow on now.
Yes.
Don't overdo it, Grandpa.
Oh.
Well, I say, that's going rather well, Charles. Well, valiant work.
Oh, yes. Well, it's not really my line of country, Arthur. I think I'm going to have a rest.
You seem much more cheerful this morning, Arthur. Does that mean you've heard from Helen?
No, Mother, but I was worrying. So I think what everybody would like to know, I rang the clinic. Now, I didn't speak to Helen, but Anne has settled down very well. She had a very good night.
Oh,
I am glad.
And the doctor's going to do a series of tests starting 1 o'clock today.
That's 12 o'clock our time.
Yes? So now, where is Liz? Because I told her to be ready 12 o'clock.
She's upstairs getting changed, Daddy.
I see. So your mother was always punctual. That is not something that is inherited by you girls.
Oh, I think Liz is... Oh. Golly. Don't you look smart?
Very nice, darling.
A daughter to be proud of.
Yes, well, I feel horribly nervous. Do I have to sit next to the chairman?
Yes, of course. Standing in for your mother. All right, come along, Liz. We'll be late. Oh, we'll be back for tea, I hope.
We'll have finished the tree by then.
Good.
Oh, the tree's beginning to look fine already.
Yes. Suddenly it feels more like Christmas.
Yes.
Now, who's going to put up the fairy?
Oh.
We shall now inject something into the eye. But it will not be uncomfortable for too long. I am sure you are going to be a very brave girl, yeah? Is she not, Mrs. Bourne?
Oh.
There. So far, so good.
Good morning, Daddy.
Morning.
Mrs. Gates said you had a postcard. Is it from Mummy and Anne?
Yes, indeed.
Oh, may I?
Hauptplatz, Baden-Baden, glorious Technicolor.
But the clinic's in Freiburg.
Oh, same province.
Miles of pine trees, lovely view from the terrace. Anne, a little tired after preliminary tests. We miss you all. Love, Mummy. Has Vicky seen this?
No, not yet.
Oh.
Well, I was going to show it to myself, you know, when I'd had a chance to look at it properly.
May I?
Yes, do.
Are you daydreaming? What? Oh, you know jolly well. You're moping and mooning. Getting lost in one of those Teutonic mists of yours. Teutonic what? Mists, my darling. I'm being metaphorical, Vic. Almost as metaphorical as you were being nostalgic. Well, almost. That's where you were, wasn't it? Out there in Germany again. Yes, I was. Well, here's something to take you straight back there. But to Baden, not to Bavaria. Postcard from Mummy. Gosh. Are they all right? Well, missing us all. Oh, dear. Christmas isn't the best time to be away from home, even in Germany.
I do wish I were back in the good old fatherland.
Poor old thing. How much is it to do with Klaus, do you think?
Oh, some, of course. But not all of it. Well, there's a lot more to Germany than just Klaus and the von Heinigs, nice as they are.
Such as?
Oh, I don't know. The music, the scenery, oh, the opera, well, everything. It's all so romantic. Oh, Liz, you'd love it, really you would. And Munich is beautiful. It's...
Munich is the birthplace of the Nazi movement, Vicky.
Yes, but lots of people are against them.
Are they? What about the von Heinigs? Are they anti-Nazi?
In a way.
How do you mean in a way?
Well, General and Frau von Heinig rather despise them, actually. Especially since they murdered General Streicher and Ernst Röhm last year. I've heard them talk about that.
Where? Where have you heard them talking about it?
Why?
I'm interested.
Well, meals mostly, when the maids left the dining room.
Naturally.
Well, it's not the sort of thing you can talk about in front of strangers, especially servants. All right, I know. That's one of the not-so-nice things, and I'm as sad about it as they are. Klaus doesn't like the Nazis. He thinks they're sort of necessary at the moment.
To make Germany great again, I suppose. To restore it to its rightful place in the world.
Yes, that's what he says.
And to lead the German people back into the land of Wotan and the Valkyries.
There's nothing wrong with Wagner.
Of course there isn't, provided there's a place for Mozart and Beethoven as well. Look, you can't be neutral about what those stormtroopers are doing to the Jews, Vicky.
Klaus says it's all exaggerated. Communist propaganda.
Oh, Vicky.
That's what he says.
You can't fake newsreel pictures of Jews with their children being paraded around the streets in carts, with placards round their necks and being jeered and spat at.
Klaus would never take part in anything like that.
He might have to one day.
He could refuse.
I hope he does. Sorry to sail into you like that, Vic, but it's something I feel very strongly about.
I understand.
Do you?
Yes.
Now, Miss Postcard, I must take and show it to Nanny. She hasn't seen it yet.
You're rather bright and cheerful, aren't you?
Not really.
Oh, yes, you are. And I'm glad. A bright sister can be quite an asset when you're feeling down in the dumps.
She can be a pain in the neck, too, sometimes.
I'm a little tired after the... What's that?
Preliminary tests. Well, that's to be expected.
And when will they know for certain?
About her head?
About her eyesight, dear. I'm not worried. I can't sleep. If that child should lose her eyesight...
Oh, no, Nanny, she won't. I'm sure she won't. Look, they'll get at it, what it is, this growth, and take the pressure off her optic nerve. He's the best doctor in Europe, honestly.
All the same, I can't help being upset and worried. Ever since she went away, I've sat in here and I've looked out that window at the clouds and the trees, and I've thought and tried to imagine what it must be like, having seen all these things, and then suddenly... Oh, the sight's such a precious gift, Liz. And for a wee girlie like Anne, she'd never dream of losing hers. She'd just take for granted that
Like we all do, Nanny.
Yes. Then there comes the day when you can't see anymore. And you realise then the blessing it is, but it's too late. All you can do is just remember.
Oh, Nanny, Anne'll be all right. You mustn't worry. Oh. Well, Dr. Cropper told Daddy yesterday he's really quite hopeful.
Did he?
You have the postcard and put it on your mantelshelf when you've read it.
Mm-hmm.
And I must go. It's Christmas Eve and there's plenty to do. Good afternoon, Jim. Happy Christmas Eve.
Oh, afternoon, miss.
May I help?
Well,
Please, I'd like to.
well, thanks, miss.
Where's Gates?
He's in the shed chopping wood.
So he asked you to come and see to this for him.
Yeah.
What's your tree like at home?
Well, I don't know, miss. Haven't got one yet.
Leaving it rather late, aren't you? Christmas tomorrow.
Well, it's the best time to get one, miss. Half price or left around Albury Market. Come dinner time. Come 5 o'clock, they're all but giving them away.
But you don't have to buy one, Jim. Not now you're here. There's a whole clump of Christmas trees just above the orchard. You must have seen them, surely.
Well, yes, I've actually, miss. I was up there yesterday, men in the gate.
Well, then.
What?
Well, all you had to do was to dig one up and take it home with you.
Ah, well, I didn't like to.
Well, you can. As soon as you've finished here, you can go up there with a spade and help yourself. Take any one you like.
You sure?
Of course.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, he won't mind, will he?
Who?
The commander.
Of course he won't. The only thing he would mind is if you didn't take one of ours and went and spent your money on one in Horbury Market.
Oh, well, right then, I will.
I'm surprised Gates didn't tell you.
We did, actually, miss.
Then why didn't you?
Well, they're not really his trees, are they? I mean, well, not his own. If the commander had told me, that'd be different, but as it is, I have to be an extra bit careful at the moment and then a bit more on top.
Because of your court case?
Yeah.
Jim, was it true that you took that bike from outside the cinema because someone had pinched yours?
Yes, miss. Well, I mean, I looked for mine after, but it had gone. Hadn't locked it up, see? But my mum, well, she gets really worried if I'm home late and, well, it's a fair walk from Holbury. So, well, all I'm thinking is I've got to get home somehow, and there's this bike, see, just leaning against the wall, nobody minding it. And all the people from the picture house, well, they'd all gone home. Well, I knew it was wrong, but I took it, rode it home to Layford.
Whose was it?
Oh, that chap who works the film machine, you know, the whatchamacallit.
Projectionist.
Aye, that's it. Well, he was still up in his box, see, winding up his film. And there was nobody about downstairs, and there you are, see, I just had to get back to the old girl.
Yes. Well, let's not talk about it anymore. What was the film?
Just had to laugh about it, thinking the title of it afterwards.
What was it?
Ah, they all laughed in court and all, you know, when the sergeant read out his statement. Said that on the night of the alleged theft, they'd been to the Tivoli in Albury.
Come on, Jim, what was the film you'd seen?
Well, it was a Lauren Hardy picture called Dirty Work. Well, I thought it was quite funny at the time.
Yes. Jim, I think this needs a new bulb.
All right, miss, I'll have a look.
Do you go to the cinema every Saturday night?
Yeah, most of them, miss. As long as the old girl's not too poorly, then I tell her about it when I get back.
What sort of films do you like best?
Well, you like something with a bit of a story to it, you know. Something that makes you think. Don't go much for all those cowboy films and gangster films, everybody being shot all over the place and dropping down dead. They're all the same, really, ain't they? A bit daft.
Yes.
Now, this Grand Hotel, they were showing that too. Now, that was an interesting one, you know. Quite funny, too. The thing was, after you come out, you were thinking about what they said.
Exactly. What else?
Well, I saw David Copperfield. That was a good story. And a Shakespeare. That was something about a lady who goes to sleep in a wood and a chap who turns into a donkey. Livia de Havilland, James Cagney. Really beautiful.
A Midsummer Night's Dream?
Yeah, that's the one. That's it. That was really nice, that was. You know, they didn't talk the way normal people talk, if you follow me, miss, and yet somehow it was nicer to listen to.
Yes, I do follow you. You know, Jim, you obviously have a feeling for words and for poetry. For beauty, I do believe.
Oh, have I? Well, fancy that.
Yes, I think so. If you like fine language and stories that make you think... Oh, come on. We must finish here, and then you can go and get your tree, and I'll ask Gates to drive you home in my car.
Oh, you're very good to me, miss.
Alice, it's your move.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
5-2. 5 to 10.
Ah.
Attack. Scout.
Where are the girls?
Yeah?
No.
The girls. Where are they?
Well, upstairs, I suppose. Wrapping up last-minute Christmas presents or something.
Ah.
Mm-hmm.
When are these people coming over?
Huh? What people?
The neighbours you've asked to dinner.
Oh, the Cartons. They're on Boxing Night.
Oh.
Are they nice?
Yeah.
Mother was saying you met her out in Hong Kong.
Yes, I did. 12 years ago.
You know, Alice, you haven't really got the hang of this, have you, I'm afraid?
Obviously not.
No, I'm afraid you lack that essential touch of class, the je ne sais quoi of the born strategist.
That, my dear Charles, is a shortcoming I can accept with total equanimity.
Oh. Vision, Alice, that's what's called for. The capacity to anticipate what the enemy is likely to do, even before he knows himself.
Oh, I find all this unutterably tedious. Why can't we play bezique?
But attack is not just an ordinary game, Alice. It is an intellectual exercise of the highest order, looked upon in some quarters as on a par with chess.
Everything I said about this applies to that, too. A ghastly game.
What, chess?
When I beat you at it last Easter, you described chess as an elaborate and long-winded exercise in
legitimized deception.
Your very words.
Yes. Well, I'm flattered that you should remember my little dictum, Alice, but it's a pity that you can't remember which of these is my commander-in-chief. Attack.
Corporal.
Oh, well, that's small fry. I don't mind losing that. Your move. No, you'll have to move that now.
Why?
But it's the one that you've just touched. You'll have to move it now.
I don't have to do anything.
Yes, Alice, you do. You have to. Because it's the rules of the game,
Nonsense.
my dear. Yes, it is. A player who touches a card
very well,
with it...
then.
The flag?
Le drapeau, I fear.
Victory! Victory! Yeah. Oh. Now, Alice, would you like another?
Not for all the Christmas hampers in Fortnum's.
Oh.
I've had enough.
Oh, Alice, now that's temper.
Did you beat him, Granny?
No, my child, I did not.
Oh, but he's hopeless. He's as easy to beat as a baby. I haven't lost to him once in years.
Well, of course, there are times when it is politic to make certain concessions to the younger generation.
Grandpa.
Who on earth can that be?
Sounds like Liz.
No, I don't think so.
Well, that's what it sounds like. Her little car.
Yeah, Vicky isn't this upstairs?
No, she went out about an hour ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Phil. Well, where to?
I've no idea. We were doing up our presents in our rooms, and she called me to say she'd something important to do. Then I saw her car drive off from my bedroom window, but I've no idea where she went. Like, I must do my presents.
Oh, she didn't say anything to you?
No, I haven't seen her since dinner.
Well, a bit late to be out on the road.
Yes.
Oh, hello, Liz. Where have you been?
I went out.
Well, yes, obviously, dear, but where?
Over to Layford. Doesn't the tree look marvellous? And look at all those presents. I must bring my last few down in a minute as soon as I finish labelling.
Wait, did you go over to Layford Park?
No, the White Cottages. I took a book to someone, a Christmas present.
You're being very mysterious.
I drove over to Layford to give someone a book. I gave it to them, and then I drove back.
Yes, but who was this someone you gave the book to? I mean, is this someone I know?
Yes, you do, actually. It was Jim Tapper. Any objections?
Jim Tapper?
Yes.
Isn't that the old man you've taken on to help Gates?
Yes, Mother, yes, it is.
The one you tried for stealing?
Yes, Mother, that's him.
And you drove over to Layford to give him a Christmas present?
Yes, I did.
May one ask why?
Certainly. Because he's an intelligent and interesting young man, and I took him a book I thought he might enjoy reading.
But he's a thief, a convicted criminal.
He wasn't convicted, Granny. He was bound over.
Same thing?
No, it isn't. Not at all, is it, Daddy?
No, Mother, it's not the same thing.
You see? Well, and in any case, it's not as if what he did was serious. He took someone else's bicycle.
He stole it, didn't he, Arthur?
Well, yes, Mother, he stole it, but he was bound over, you know, given a second chance.
What was the book you gave him, Liz?
Oh, just something I thought he might appreciate.
Such as?
A Child's Guide to Shakespeare.
But he's not a child. He's 19.
He didn't have much of an education, Phyllis. It'll be a start for him. Something he'll be able to understand.
Shakespeare?
Yes, Shakespeare. William Shakespeare.
No, don't be rude, Liz.
What would a person like that do with a guide to Shakespeare?
Read it. Look, he was extremely grateful, and he thanked me politely.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me. He seems quite a nice young man, the little I've seen of him.
Oh, I haven't had much to do with him either. But he seemed to me a very decent young fellow.
Be that as it may, when there are thieves in the house, convicted or otherwise, I, for one, intend to give them as little encouragement as possible. As long as this young man is in service here, my jewellery stays in its case, locked, put away, and out of his sight.
Oh, Mother, now I think you're being unnecessarily dramatic about this.
Do you?
Yes, I do. I mean, heaven's sakes, I too think he's a reasonably decent young fellow. You know, basically honest. Heaven's sakes, he's young, intelligent, as Liz says, although she appears to know more about that sort of thing than I do. You know, his mother's a war widow. She's not very well off. So, all in all, although I felt what he did was wrong, we're both agreed on that, Mother. Now, in all the circumstances, it seemed to justify giving him a second chance, and that is precisely what I've done.
Well, that seems fair enough to me.
Oh, me too. Though I, for one, shall lock up nothing while I'm here. To be perfectly honest, I have nothing precious to lock up.
That sounds like leaving the stable door open because there's no horse to get out. Well, leave it open by all means, Phyllis. But don't boast about it.
I'm not boasting.
Well, it sounded like that. Lock up nothing. It's not my fault if you've lost or pawned half the jewellery I've given you over the years.
Oh, Mother, really?
Oh, now, come on, you two. Now, young Tapper will settle down. Gates to keep him up to the mark.
Up to the mark?
Yes, Gates will see that young Tapper tends to his duties with a will and on time. All ship-shape and Bristol fashion. Because that's what Gates likes, you know. Bit of marine discipline. Well, he'll soon lick young Tapper into shape.
Oh, Daddy, really? Licked into shape, marine discipline, all ship-shape and Bristol fashion? You talk as though he was some mutinous naval rating, only to be kept in order with a lash or the threat of it.
Oh, no, Liz.
Look, he's a thoughtful and sensitive citizen, and he needs all the help and encouragement we can give him. And that's what I intend to do. Excuse me, I'm going to do my Christmas presents.
Well, just forgive me for a moment.
I must say I never thought I should live to see my eldest granddaughter giving Christmas presents to a convicted criminal. What is the world coming to?
Oh, come on, Alice. I mean, Liz only looks on young Tapper as an agreeable and intelligent young man who's had a bit of bad luck, and she wants to help him reform. She wants to understand and encourage him. Take an interest in his education, his reading, his mind.
I wonder.
What do you mean, Phyllis?
I wonder if that's all she's interested in.
Are you all alone in the dark?
Yes.
Annie gone to bed?
Yes.
Now, come on, Liz. I don't want any sulking on Christmas Eve, especially not this year.
I'm not sulking.
You've got to remember, that Granny's an old lady. She's born and brought up in another age. Oh, you may think her views are intolerant and old-fashioned, but she's entitled to her own opinions, in your respect. Now, it's all that ship-shape and Bristol fashion.
Yes. I'm sorry, Daddy.
Well, now then, just a word about Master Tapper. I'm all for helping young Jim to, prove himself a useful citizen. And incidentally, by the way, there is nothing against you giving him William Shakespeare to read and encouraging him to improve his mind. But just at the moment, I wouldn't make too much fuss of him. Well, not until he gets to know us, and settles down. You see, Liz, now I don't want to be feudal because I've got nothing to be feudal about. But I think you ought to remember that he is an employee and you are an employer's daughter. Now, don't confuse him about his position. Do you understand?
Yes, I do understand, Daddy, but I just feel I want to talk to him about books and his time off and really encourage him to read. Was there a way where he's, like a teacher at school?
Well, yes, of course. So long as you don't forget the authority of a teacher. Become too familiar. Well, actually, it's the same in school. If you lose your pupil's attention, well, then you lose your pupil's respect. Now, you ask your grandpa about it.
Yes, thank you, Daddy. I hoped you'd understand.
What is it? What's this? Cheese soup, eh? Good Lord. Fillet of beef? Or what is all this?
It's the dinner menu for Boxing Night when the Cartland family come over.
Oh, good girl. Oh, it all sounds delicious.
Well, Mummy always writes down her suggestions and then gives them to Mrs. Gates in the morning. As I'm Mummy for the next month or so, that's what I shall do.
Oh, absolutely. Jolly well done. Oh, incidentally, your grandpa won't be with us on Boxing Night. No, his old pupil at Hereford Cathedral rang up and asked him to dine, so we'll just be 8.
Oh, what a shame. That means we'll be 2 females over and 1 man short.
Oh, well, it doesn't matter, does it? Oh, we're just families. You could finish that menu downstairs, couldn't you?
I really want us to have a marvellous dinner on Boxing Night to pay the Cartland family back for having us all over there. And to show Mrs. Cartland that even if your wife is away, you're not lacking a woman's care.
How should we go about this? 1 at a time, or all in a scrum?
All in a scrum, Daddy, please.
All right. But I think with just 1,
Thank you.
2,
For me?
3 exceptions. All right. Now then, on your marks. Right, you ready?
Ready?
Come back. Go!
Once again, as I close, I send you all, and not least to the children who may be listening to me, my truest Christmas wishes. And those, my dear wife, my children and grandchildren who are with me today. I add a heartfelt prayer that wherever you are, God may bless and keep you always.
King didn't sound very well.
His voice was really quite husky.
So it's London fogs, and I think they're good for his lungs.
Bronchitis, like a father had.
Wonder if Mummy and Anne were listening.
Is Germany not a wee bit far away from that, dearie?
Well, they could listen to Nanny if they wanted to.
Yes, but even if they did hear his message of peace and goodwill, I doubt very much if those bloodthirsty butchers over there would take very much notice of him.
Any more than his second cousin, the Kaiser, took any notice of him in 1914?
Now, you're not to spoil the children's Christmas with gloom and pessimism.
We're not children anymore, Granny. Are we, Vicky? No, please don't let's talk about war and Germany on Christmas Day.
Exactly. Now, we'll all play a nice paper game to cheer ourselves up.
All the bills come in this time of year.
Yes.
Really? Well, it's never busy. One thing coming in. Well, a scotch for you.
Yes, please. No, I don't think we'll get much competition from abroad. They're all concentrating on making tanks now and armoured cars in the Axis countries. Of course, they're having strikes in America. Thank you.
Very double.
Sorry I'm late, Daddy. Only Nanny had to do me up at the back.
Oh, that's all right, darling. Help yourself to some orange squash or something, will you? Yes, I suppose so.
What are we going to do? To Lula? Oh, she's a dear little creature. We're all getting very fond of her.
Oh, it's very kind of you to have her over there. Well, is she eating quite well?
Oh, my goodness, she stuffs herself full of every meal. And Geoffrey adores her, too.
You must write and tell Anne.
Oh, I will. Hello, Mrs. Cartland.
Hello, Vicky. Oh, my dear, you are looking pretty tonight.
Oh, do tell me, the pond over at Layford, are you going to do anything with it? The Codringtons were always saying they were going to have it cleaned and stock it with trout, but they never did.
Yes, so I understand. Oh, I think Geoffrey means to do something, but when he gets round to it. But, you know, there's still so much to be done in the house.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
It is unbelievable.
Really, are they? How interesting. Well, all I can say is I asked my stockbroker about them just before Christmas, and he didn't think they were a good buy. He said that their interim report was expected to be disappointing, and he wouldn't put me into them.
Well, it wasn't so at all, Lady Bourne. The half-year profits were up £40,000, and the ordinary shares jumped in a week from 35 to 53.
Oh, I'm beginning to think my stockbroker must be a fool. But my husband swore by him. He's so nice as a person.
Well, if I can look at your portfolio at any time and give you advice, Lady Bourne, I'd be only too delighted.
Could you make some money for me?
Oh, I'm sure we could.
Hello, Peter.
Oh, hello, Vicky. How are you?
Very well, thanks. How are you?
They're saying in the city that United Steel might be in for a big rise. My firm's very bullish about it.
Oh, really? I don't think I've got any of them.
You're just in time to persuade your grandmother to buy United Steel.
Am I? Well, should I?
Well, if you want to get rich.
Who doesn't?
Excuse me, Granny. Could I borrow Peter for a moment?
Of course you could, darling.
Thank you.
Come and tell Granny what you've been doing with yourself.
Nothing much.
Come in. Well, I suppose that went off all right.
Yes, it seemed to. What did you think of them?
Gartlands? Well, quite honestly, I didn't see much of them all evening, so I can't judge.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was my fault, putting you between Daddy and Vicky at dinner. Only Daddy said that Granny must have Mr. Carton on one side of her and Peter on the other. And it was the only way I could manage it with so many females over. Well, didn't you manage to talk to them after dinner?
Oh, 4 words with Master Glamorous Peter.
Yes, he is, isn't he?
And then while you were out helping Mrs. Gates, your dear grandmother started on her nursing experiences during the war and continued until they left. Oh, by the way, I thought you didn't think much of Master P. Cartland.
I didn't when we went over there before Christmas. Tonight he was really rather divine. I know he's a bit pleased with himself, but he does make a girl feel intelligent.
Isn't he just a rather shallow young man on the stock exchange?
Oh, he's more than that. He reads a lot, and he's very musical, and he flies with the Auxiliary Air Force at weekends, and he can quote Shakespeare just like that.
So will Jim Tapper by the time you've finished with him.
Yes, with a bit of luck.
He's a very fortunate young man, having the daughter of the household taking such a deep interest in him. Well, don't you think so?
To tell you the truth, I'm probably more interested in Jim Tapper than in any other young man I've met in a long time. But not in the way you obviously think. My interest in Jim is purely...
Platonic?
Yes.
Oh, Liz.
It is.
You don't find him attractive?
I hadn't thought.
Why not?
I don't know. It hadn't occurred to me, really.
But he is attractive. He's a good-looking young man. You can't deny that.
All right, I suppose he is, so.
So? Doesn't it strike you as being rather strange that something as obvious as that has never occurred to you before? Consciously, I mean.
Consciously?
Yes.
You've been reading your Dr. Freud, it would seem.
I don't need him to point out the landmarks in that particular neck of the woods. And if, God forbid, I had to turn to books for guidance, I'd rather read D.H. Lawrence.
D.H. Lawrence?
Yes. I don't suppose you've read him, and I don't suppose you should.
Phyllis, I can assure you that Jim Tapper is no Mellows, and I am most emphatically no Lady Chatterley. You're wrong, Phil. Totally.
I hope I am. Talking of men, it reminds me I'm having a little party in my flat on the 16th, and I thought you and Vicky might like to come. Well, after all, she is coming out this year, and you could do with a change from Larkfield, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, thanks, Phil. That would be something to look forward to, as long as Daddy lets us.
Oh, he will. I'm having 1 or 2 quite interesting people. A jaunt to London might be fun. You can stay the night with me if you don't mind sharing a very small bed.
We'd sleep on the floor for the chance to be at one of your parties.
Don't expect too much. Just a few assorted characters, some cold food and drinks.
Oh, it all sounds marvellous. Oh, Vicky will be thrilled, and so am I. Thanks, Phil.
Well, I must away to my bed. Be careful with that young man.
Do you mean Peter Cartland or Jim Tapper?
Both.
Oh, thanks for the invitation, anyway.
Oh, not at all. You see, I promised your mother I'd fix you up with something after Christmas, to stop you from getting bored and keep you out of mischief.
Old Willie Matheson's dead.
Who's old Willie Matheson?
Well, he was a famous headmaster of Trentfield for years and years. Awful old bore. He was 93.
Then it's high time he was dead. Nobody should live to that age. In my opinion, very inconsiderate.
Well, you better make sure that you don't, Alice, dear. Now, don't forget.
There's a car. Who can it be?
Well, I hope it's not visitors. I'm still in my bedroom slippers.
Well, shall we escape upstairs?
No, let's wait and see who it is.
But it'll be too late. Who is it, Arthur?
It's Rosie Cartland, Quick Mother. She rang up this morning, asked if she could come over, pick my bread.
What about?
It's just some lamb Geoffrey's thinking of buying.
Would you like us to skedaddle?
No, do stay, old chap. We'll talk in the study.
Hello, Arthur.
Good morning, Rosie.
I hope this isn't a terrible bore for
No.
you.
Only too delighted. Well, do go in. We'll talk in the study. It's Rosie Cartland, Mother.
Good morning, Lady Bourne. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
I'm so sorry to barge in at this unearthly hour of the morning, but my dear husband wants to buy some land. This side of Layford, adjoining Arthur's, in fact, if it's worth having.
Well, I'm to give advice on its value.
As long as he doesn't want to put up a motor car factory on it and ruin the view.
I don't think he's likely to do that, Lady Bourne. Not in this part of the world.
Well, I don't think Mother was being serious, Rosie. Do go in.
I was being serious. People like Mr. Conklin don't care about the countryside.
She wouldn't let him do it. Strong character, that one.
Yes, and she's got Arthur eating out of her hand. That's plain enough to see.
Alice, what are you saying?
I'm saying that there's more to her visit than just asking Arthur's advice about a piece of land. The real question is, does he like her or does she like him or both? You mark my words.
Alice, you really must stop indulging in this gossip and scandal-mongering, especially about your own son. Otherwise, people will stop calling you Lady Bourne and start calling you Lady Sneerwell.
Who's she?
Oh, dearie me, what ignorance. School for Scandal, Sheridan.
Oh. Well, anyway, I shall say what I please.
But not in front of the children.
Have you written all your thank you letters yet?
Not all of them.
Well, then you should do some now.
I'm just going to. I'm going to write to Anne and Mummy first, then my thank yous afterwards.
Or if you do, it can go in my envelope.
Okay. I can't help thinking about Mummy this morning.
Why especially this morning, dearie?
Well, Mrs. Cartland's been closeted with Daddy in his study for ages. I think she made up an excuse to come over and see him because she's secretly in love with him.
Vicky, what on earth are you saying, child?
Well, it's not impossible, Nanny. Only if you want my opinion, I think he's got a shine on her.
Liz, how dare you say things like that about your father, even in fun? It's dreadful, shameful.
Well, all I know is they were out in Hong Kong together in 1923, and Mummy wasn't with him.
And when we all went over there for dinner, she never took her eyes off him.
And on Boxing Night, he talked to her the whole time, from the soup to the coffee. And after all, she's very attractive.
And so is Daddy. So it could easily be a case.
Stop it, both of you. I never heard such impertinence, such disrespect. If you want to stay in this room, get on with your letters, and don't let me hear another word out of either of you. Do you understand?
Oh, yes, Nanny.
Sorry, Nanny.
Here, who told you to do that?
Well, 12th night, innit?
I'm aware of that, but who said the tree was to be stripped by you?
Well, Miss Elizabeth did.
Oh, did she? Well, I'll get on with it then. The family will be back for their tea soon.
All right. The Honourable Lady of the House. Which is she?
Speak to me, I shall answer for her. Speak to me, I shall answer for her. That's Olivia, now Viola says.
Almost radiant, exquisite, and unmatchable beauty. Tell me if this be the lady of the house, for I never saw her.
Good. You'd make an excellent Viola. You really would.
Well, no thanks, miss. I'm not a girl, am I?
No. Antonio for you, I think.
Yeah.
How are you getting on, Jim?
Oh, fine, thanks, miss. One thing, though, there's nothing about 12th night in here. It's not about Christmas or anything like that.
Oh, I know. They say it's called 12th Night because that's when it was first performed.
Oh, I see.
Oh, I see you finished stripping the tree.
Well, yes, miss. That's why I come in today, finish off the tree. And I thank you for the book. It was very kind. I'm managing to get through it bit by bit.
Yes, well, if there's anything you want me to explain, just come and find me.
All right, miss. Well, that's it then. Another Christmas over, eh?
Yes. Why don't you go and have your tea now, Jim? We're just about to have ours.
All right, miss. Thanks again.
After you, my dear.
Yes.
Hello.
Wonders of modern science.
Yes.
Do you have a nice walk?
Oh, rather. Father took us over to the dairy farm, see the new milking machine.
Oh, dear, doesn't the tree look sad?
Oh, I know, Granny, but we had to strip it today, otherwise it's unlucky.
Oh, well, another Christmas over.
That's what Jim said just now.
Oh, was he in here?
Yes, he was helping me to dismantle the lights from the tree, 6th of January.
Well, it's time you and I were on our way, you know, Alice. We don't want to outstay our welcome.
Well, do stay for a few more days, Charles. Just because Phyllis had to get back, there's no need to desert the sinking ship.
Well, we have outstayed our usual Christmas visit by at least 4 days.
Oh, but we need you more than ever this year, Granny, with Mummy and Anne away. Isn't that right, Daddy?
Yes, it's quite right.
Oh, Liz, dear, what a sweet thought. Come and give your old Granny a kiss.
Well, if you really mean it, Arthur, I could stay till the 15th.
Oh, splendid.
And I've got a charity committee in London on the 16th, so you could send both of us off in the train on the 14th.
Well, that's fine, Mother, but I'm afraid I've got to be in London too on the 30th.
Oh.
But it's a letter from the Admiralty of all places.
I saw an important-looking envelope on the hall table.
It's just a peremptory summons to report to a certain room on January 13th. I mean, they don't say who I'm to see or any details.
Really?
I suppose I better answer.
Well, perhaps Charles and I had better come down with you on the 13th.
Well, that seems sensible.
Well, no. Look, Mother, stay for another week now that you plan to.
Yes, because the meet at Roxburgh's on the 13th, and you know how much you enjoy the meet, Granny.
Well...
Look, I tell you what, Mother. Look, I'll stay the night in town because I got 1 or 2 things to do. Then I'll meet you off the train on the 14th, and I'll take my best girl to lunch at the In-N-Out.
Oh, Arthur, that would be nice. If you're sure.
Oh, quite sure, yes. But now, if you'll excuse me.
If your father's going to town on the 13th, we shall be in the house without a man.
I'll be here.
I mean, suppose that creature takes into his head, because Arthur's away, to break in and strangle us all in our beds.
I suppose you mean Jim Tapper, Granny?
Yes, I do.
Well, I can assure you, Jim will be far too busy studying Twelfth Night to strangle anyone.
And if he does, I can save you, Alice, dear.
Oh, no, Charles, you couldn't. You're much too old and feeble.
Thank you.
Enter. Commander Bourne, sir.
Thank you.
Come in, Arthur.
Oh, good Lord, I didn't expect to see you. This is a surprise.
You're looking fit.
Yes, I am fit, sir.
Well, sit down.
Thank you very much. Now, I got such an, formal and impersonal summons to come here. I never guessed it would be you. Now, what does this mean, sir? We going to war?
Who knows? Eden thinks it can be averted. Winston doesn't. Anyway, awfully glad to see you again, Arthur. Rosie was delighted to find you and your wife such close neighbours in Herefordshire. Splendid surprise for her.
Oh, and for me.
Cigarette?
Thank you very much, sir. Hey.
Well, what have you been doing all these years since you left the service?
Well, my own father, died back in 1924. Well, of course, that was the year after I left your flagship, I got myself sent back to Chatham.
Ah.
I just had to inherit the old family property. So, I handed in my papers as soon as Father's estate was settled. And then the girls and I moved into Larkfield. Had a bit of mother trouble to start with. Dodger wasn't too keen on moving out of Larkfield and into London, so I offered her a cottage on the estate, but she decided in the end on a flat in London. I think much better at her age.
But you see her from time to time?
Yes, she comes up to stay quite a bit.
Are you quite close? I mean, in your relations with your mother?
Absolutely. It's a very funny question. Is there any reason for it?
Yes, I'll come to that. Are you all right for money these days?
That's another funny question.
Yes.
I can't really see what money has to do with your sending for me. With all due respect, of course.
No. Well, nobody's got enough of it these days.
Oh, no. You're damned right. Yes, trying to keep up with property the size of Larkfield on a commander's retired pay, plus a few small dividends from our shares, I can assure you it is no joke. Oh, Rosie seems to...
Yes. She's got no worries in that direction. By the way, sorry to hear about your daughter. Rosie was telling me.
Yes, it's a beastly business. We're hoping these German doctors can put her right.
And your wife's got to be out there with her all the time.
Well, for the time being, anyway, yes. She, well, the treatment's only just beginning, and it is rather distressing for the poor child. No, she's got guts, you know, Anne has. But Helen felt she ought to be out there, you know, for the first part, anyway.
Jackie White told me he'd seen you. What a charming house you had. Said you were living a quiet life as a country squire, looking after your place.
Yes, I think that just about sort of sums up my life. Yeah.
Not missing the service?
No, not very much. Why?
Just wondered.
They want us back, sir, don't they? I mean, this is keeping El Duce out of the Met. That's what it is, isn't it? Abyssinia?
Not altogether. The Italian fleet is a damn threat to peace, yes. What we're much more worried about between these four walls is Germany's flagrant disregard of the naval pact. It's not only U-boats, they're building more of these pocket battleships, you know, like the Deutschland and the Admiral Scheer. Just under the permitted tonnage, you see. But damn powerful little ships, fast and well gunned. It's all going on at their two main naval bases, Kiel and Wilhelmshaven.
Yes, so I've heard.
You'll be going out to see your daughter, I suppose?
Yes, Helen too. I mean, as soon as I get the chance.
It's going to be expensive. Toing and froing between Herefordshire and... where was it?
Freiburg, Black Forest.
Yes. Especially if you go out by airliner.
Oh, absolutely. But, well, there you are. You see, what can one do?
What would you say, old chap, if I were to suggest a way by which His Majesty's government might pay your fares between London and Freiburg over a period of time? Eh?
Well, I would say thank you very much, sir, but what's the catch?